I want to see Danny hook into a tarpon.
See, it's a different game than you thought it was, isn't it?
Trout, yeah.
Well,
let's go tarpon fishing. No, they'll blow everybody's mind.
Oh, that's huge fun,
Dude.
Muskie.
Hell,
no.
Never been musky though.
What's up, guys?
There's a channel that I found up in evening, folks. There's a channel I found.
Just take the show over.
It's these Canadian guys that fish for sturgeon, and they've literally got videos of these like 600-pound sturgeon jumping out of the water and tail walking.
Oh, wow.
That would be insane.
That's pretty much. It leaves the guys speechless.
It would be insane.
It's incredible.
Like that come out of the water.
Yeah, well, we'll see. All right, give it about a minute into this, and I will get it. It's give the show its official start.
So we'll have to go bigger. We'll spread
What's
out.
up, guys?
Fish
Nathan.
North Georgia to fish North America.
Fish North.
Yeah.
You give
Well,
me
that's
scissors?
I mean, that's what we were talking
Fish-
about. Like
Fish Northern Hemisphere.
Hey, while I'm
fish
talking,
North Georgia,
put
fish
that,
southeast.
Put that in that thing and give me a shake.
It's
It
regional.
is.
Hell, I did
What's
that for a
up,
magazine.
everybody?
We actually, my family had a magazine, but I'll tell you about that another time. That's
Okay.
funny stuff.
All right, we gotta get
I
started.
got some stories.
We're gonna go ahead and get started. What's up, Eric? All right, so anyway, guys, this is I do have to look in the camera for the intro. This is supposed to be our trout episode, our primer into trout fishing. We have been very bass heavy here at the show at Fish North Georgia, and you know, with good reason. But we're going to kind of venture out of our comfort zone tonight and talk about trout. We think that's the name of the title, the trout episode. We think.
I heard swim baits and got interested.
We did get talking into swim baits. What's up, Kobe? Oh yeah, that's
You
come
said
on.
to shake.
I told you shake it up, shake that thing
Shake
up.
it.
There we go. All right, I'm drinking water. I'm
Hey,
trying to be healthy and lose weight. I'm fat.
Colby Milner,
Yeah,
he's an all-American wrestler from Reinhardt. Went to school with him and everything.
Yeah.
Hey, he's a heck of a fisherman too.
I know. We met him today.
Oh,
We met him
I
today.
didn't know that.
As a matter of fact, we'll talk about a little bit about Kobe here in a little bit.
Yeah, I probably told you the crack rabbit thing, didn't
He did.
he?
that.
Hey, he commented on my picture on Instagram. I'm like, "What's up, crack rabbit?" And I was
Okay,
like,
so
mhm.
listen, before we even get started, I can't even get any farther. Let me introduce my star-studded panel, and then we'll come back to that real quick.
Oh,
So
Colby.
beside me is Blake, the crack rabbit Buchanan,
What's going on, y'all?
or better known as Blake, the girls love the mullet Buchanan. Either way, he answers by both of them. So how you doing tonight?
Doing good.
You
man.
ready? Good. You ready?
I'm ready to go.
All
Let's
right, you've been fishing all
See
day.
who's
brother,
in there.
so-
Not about all day. We went for about 4 hours.
Yeah, I saw it. He posted a nice picture called on a what? True Grit,
True grit.
Happy Juice.
Happy juice.
All right, and how big was it?
When wet, I'd say close to 4.
4 or 5 pounds, largemouth.
Yeah.
Juicy
Head.
juice.
On what? On
Juice.
what lake?
It come from Lanier.
There you go,
Everybody who
boys.
says largemouth
There you
ain't in
go.
Lanier.
There you go.
We caught more largemouth today than spots.
There you go. All right, so we'll have to save that for the next episode since this is a trout episode. But you did post a picture
Hey, I heard swim baits swimming.
and heard swim baits. We keep hearing swim baits for trout, so here it goes. So JT Fishing, y'all getting in Paul's wheelhouse now. Yep, that's what we do. All right, so anyway, again, let's swing the camera over to Paul Coonan.
There we go.
Did I say it right
Hello,
this
everybody.
time? Coonan?
Did you figure out how you say coon?
It's Coonan. It is Coonan.
No.
Is it not Coonan?
Well, it's not raccoonin, but
Raccoon sounds so good. It is strong French Canadian, but you're not.
nah, but I'm Italian.
Josh, what the hell have we done here? Listen, what's up, Doug? All right, anyway, Paul's been on the show several times, and we always look forward to him being here because he is an all-around great fisherman, and he does post a lot of trout pictures.
Let's not go too far.
Well, you better.
I'm an
not.
okay fisherman.
You're an okay fisherman, but hey, listen, don't sell yourself short. And here with the glorious beard. Yeah, look at that thing.
Phil Roberts himself.
Phil Roberts. Yeah, listen. Here we go. Phil
Heard both.
Hutchison.
Yes, sir.
Phil Hutchison. And you got a couple people you want to rep real quick? Phil
Evening, folks.
Hutchison?
Yes, I do. I'm actually here. I noticed one gentleman right there, Alex Green. I see your name up there.
Yep.
Yes, that's the dude who's been innovating a lot of stuff, and a lot of stuff that he taught me is actually how we're getting to this point of conversation this evening. So that's definitely someone important right there. Always got to give a shout out to Captain John Mccloskey as well. If you guys don't know who he is, you need to follow him, Dry Fly John, on Instagram.
Okay.
He is a badass fisherman. He guides here half the year and half the year in Alaska.
No way.
And he can get you on some 30-inch rainbows or Arctic char or salmon that you can bring back by the cooler full.
Really?
But he also has managed to catch probably the biggest brown trout that's come out of the Chattahoochee that we know of so far. It was a 34.5-inch brown trout. Yes, 34.5-inch.
Wait a second now. Wait a second.
So,
Jacob.
and that it was, if by weight, it was bigger than the world record largemouth. So, I'm
Well,
just
that-
saying, guys, I'm gonna
Okay,
try
well,
to
this-
rearrange your.
We're gonna have to
this is what
do
happens.
some rearranging real
Listen,
quick.
this is what happens when you
When you think you know what you're talking about.
when you ask somebody, hey, I need a question of the night, question of the week, and they pull up a question and the guest blows the question all to pieces. Not that it was the same thing, but his fish is bigger than my question of the week. So,
Hey, you
Uh,
want you want
it's
a part
unofficial.
B to that too?
Huh?
Here's part B. Do you guys know what the world record? Now there was a new one that was just caught. It's not been certified yet by the IFGA, but do you know what the world record currently is for brown trout?
no.
Okay, we know the world record for largemouth bass,
Yes.
Up to Georgia.
22-4.
22.4
Yeah.
out
Out
of Georgia.
What the Japs say. It's 22-4 out of Georgia.
Yep. They did, yep. No, hey, it's got to be by 2 ounces. If it ain't by 2 ounces, then
Yeah,
they don't get the record.
that's
They
right.
tied, so that's
That's right.
the best. But
Yeah,
we got them by 10 years, so
that's right.
whatever.
Absolutely.
But the record for the brown trout currently is sitting, I think, at 42 pounds, 13 ounces.
Really?
Germany, back in the 1800s, has recorded history of where they would harvest brown trout that were over 100 pounds. You can Googlify it. There's
Go
old
on.
papers with that. No pictures, nothing
Okay,
like that. But
So like
but
you're already
cold
too
water
smart.
fish.
We got somebody with a lot of information.
That's
on
what
here
I'm
tonight.
I was thinking, well, all right. So
Yes.
we're going to make up the question of the week when we get to it. So we'll just figure something out and we'll go from there.
Yeah,
I'll let you just ask it because
Maybe you should just give the prize to him.
he ain't going to use that stuff. All right. Anyway, I got to get through some announcements real quick, and then we're going to get to the show tonight. So I hope you guys will stay with us for that. So first announcement, FX Rod Sale ends this week, guys. So $40 off a Extreme Angler Series, 70 off a Titanium. You can give us a call here, but that is company wide with FX. It ends this week. So if you want a great rod for the price, hit Josh or I, and we will set you guys up. But again, that ends this week. So that's the first announcement. Next announcement, we always like to give all the trails, tournaments, and all that around here a little shout out. So first shout out tonight goes to the Dahlonega John Boat Anglers. Good Lord, what was that going down the road?
don't y'all have a no
A
Jake break
raccoon.
sign?
No Jake break.
Yeah,
He was hitting it, was he?
he was hitting it.
That's why we do this in the basement. Yeah, he
Yes,
was.
sir.
Dahlonega John Boats, they're going to be at Yahula Saturday the 2nd. So we have fished with Dahlonega John Boats the last few years. We're not doing it this year, not because they're not a great group of guys. We've just got too busy. But we wish everybody associated with Dahlonega John Boats a hell of a year in 2021. And I hope your first tournament goes great. So pit crew, they're going out a little haul Friday, and they're going to be full. They're full already. I hope you guys watch the weather Friday. It's supposed to be pretty nasty. Yeah, it's going to be really nasty.
Not the
Friday.
white stuff. is
So
it?
you mean
Not
you're
the white
saying it's
stuff.
going to be good for fishing?
Some days
Yes,
it's
that
awesome,
is that-
and then some it's horrible.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Well,
I've
it's hit or
defi-
miss.
I will tell you that
It's Saturday,
won't
I
say
thought.
it's-
Nathan, did I say wrong? Is the pit crew moved to Saturday? And it might be. Hell, I mean, we done messed everything else up, so why not that? A lot of guys on the Dahlonega John Boats out this week practicing on Yahula. Absolutely. So yeah, go ahead and show them that. We'll get talking more about that trout that we're holding up here.
Yep, this is old split jaw.
Split jaw. Look at that thing, guys.
This is a
gorgeous.
perfect example of a Chattahoochee.
Okay, so it's the second, guys. I'm
brown
sorry.
trout.
Are we talking about it's the pit crew's going out the second? Well, good. Y'all have better weather. However,
gorgeous.
on New Year's Day, the Alatoona, the 2021 Alatoona Hangover Classic is scheduled to go out of Galt's Ferry. Safe flight till 2 o'clock. $50 per boat, $10 optional side pot. And I don't know what in the hell an optional side pot means for what that is, but they got that.
Yeah.
You're in or you're out.
Big fish.
I think big fish goes over there. The
Well-
standard entry fee, but the side pots, if you win that, you get the side pot money as well.
Really?
So that's how the ones I fish usually work.
Okay, well that works. There you go. $10 optional side pot, 5 fish. Johnny Dunlap will be the tournament director. But again, guys, if you are going out Friday, the weather's going to be pretty nasty, so you guys stay safe. Unless homie drags out a 9-pounder again. I don't listen. I got
9-pounder from where?
Oh, that was from Yahula.
Oh,
Last
I
year-
thought he was about to say Altoona. I was
No,
like, what?
last year we had a tournament on Yahula last year.
That's a solid fish.
Listen, no, solid is right. Everybody, it was Jonathan Bowen, but everybody was weighing in 12-inch fish. I mean, no shit.
Here's a 9-pounder.
No,
Go
listen,
home.
everybody, and here comes this mammoth fish. And we've already talked about that fish could have eaten
All the
any
other fish.
that was weighed in. It literally was the biggest largemouth I've ever seen.
Short and fat or long and fat? There's long.
It was both, man. It was just,
It was just a giant fish.
it was
big.
giant.
That's probably how it got so big.
Especially my glasses there, especially with the all the other fish that have been weighed in. So with the green trout on Lanier today, shallow or deep, they were shallow. There you go.
Me.
Nobody's talking about you. You
Well, there's always
yet.
technically green trout on Lanier. I mean, they live there. It's just, can you find them?
Exactly.
Shallow or deep?
shallow or deep.
Yeah,
There you
shallow
go.
or deep.
Probably both.
People just don't target them enough.
There you go. All right. Let me see. Okay, so here we go. Josh wanted me to put this in here because he is the businessman. You guys make sure you subscribe to our channel and make sure you click the bell to hit the notification thing so that anytime we put out a video or other content like that, you get notified and you can join in on madness and all the stuff that we got planned for 2021. So make sure if you are here as a visitor today, we appreciate you watching. That sounds like church. If you're here as a visitor today, we appreciate you guys, but hit the subscribe button and there you go. We'll pass it
Donate
off.
now.
We will pass the offering plate here shortly. God loves a cheerful giver. So anyway, so that's that. What else? What else we're gonna do? Oh, here's a good one. All right, January 5th. This is gonna be. We're not doing a show this coming up Thursday. All right, it's New Year's Eve. Everybody's got stuff to do. First of all, if you're out, we hope you stay safe. I would my number is actually on the thing. If any of you guys get in a position that you don't need to drive, I'm not kidding. Call me. I'll come get you. I don't care what time it is. So I don't want 800 phone calls. I'll do my best. But if you're going to be out, be responsible, have a good time, but stay safe and keep yourself safe for everybody else like that. So anyway, so that's just something I want to say. But since we're not doing a show, our next show is going to be January 5th, and it's going to be a very special show. All right, so this show is going to have Blake right here. Let's shine on Blake. Oh, we're not. What are we doing here? We don't.
It's better if we don't.
It's better if we don't. There we go. I just wanted his beautiful face to be seen because I want because I want everybody to look at this now. Look at this hair right here. When's the last time you had your
That
hair
is
rubbed like that?
mullet
Look at that
last
hair.
week.
Last week. So here's what's going on. All right. So on January 5th, Blake will be here. Matt Melton is coming back here. Port Taco, as you guys know him, and all the
Comment section.
comments. Good. It's been a long day, man. Comment section. And Mason Waters with Waters Heating and Air. He's going to be back. And what we're going to do on January 5th, and all you guys can do this, everybody can participate. We're going to come up with a list of 10 things that you guys want to see us here at Fish North Georgia do in the year 2021. They can be trips like that, like, or challenges. Go catch, tarpon, we'll try to get, it might be go catch a largemouth bass in this lake or this, whatever. We're going to come up with 10 things. We're going to go do it. We're going to film it, everything. We're going to come up with this list. That's what this episode on the 5th is going to be about. All right. And so that's just kind of one of the fun things we're going to do right here. Heating and cooling. Did I say it wrong again? Waters, heating, and cooling. There we go. That's my friend Mason. I love him. He knows I try to do my best. He must have changed my mic thing.
I know, man. I feel
We get a little
way
springy.
close to you tonight.
Look at that. Well, you like to be close to me, but anyway, I just move a
How
little
about
bit.
that?
So anyway, oh man, knocking waters over everything. All right.
The cup.
So I have a great trivia question for later if you want it. Ron Swinford. All right, listen, you're don't post it until I tell you to post it, but you're gonna be the question of the week here in just a little bit. All right. So anyway, largemouth spot and shoal in one trip.
That'd be hard to find the shoal bass.
Well, show bass be up Chattahoochee.
Yeah, if you can find 'em.
We'll try to do that. But like, how about like, we go film an episode up upper Chattahoochee catching shoal bass or something like that, stuff like that. So anyway, January 5th, that's what we're going to do. So you guys get your ideas. We want them to be challenges. I don't want it to be easy. I don't want it to be going over here to Latham Reservoir and catching a spot because I can do that
Any day.
any day. I
Any
want it
day.
to be something. And I already posted the question, Tim White. I missed it, buddy. I'm sorry. I'm trying. I got a lot going on.
People can start donating. We'll get you in Sarasota for a tarpon trip.
He's got to go
he is
noodling
pushing-
with that little girl from Alabama first.
He
I
is-
do want a noodle.
What are you talking about? The little Instagram chick?
Well, I don't need the chick. I mean, I can do it with Fat Larry up the road. I don't care. I would like to go somewhere and stick my hand. I can't
You're
say-
crazy.
I was gonna say stick my hand in a hole.
And then you told
and I stopped.
demonetized.
I ain't sticking my hand in nothing.
That's
for no
not what
damn
I heard.
fish.
That's not what I heard. Huh? That is not what I heard. But anyway,
Different kind of snapping turtle.
we're just gonna stay out of that rabbit hole tonight. Look, Paul's over there like, please, Danny, don't go there. Please.
Dalton Tankersley. Very familiar.
Got to do some trout fishing. We're going to talk about trout here shortly. So let me get off to this. But one of the things we're going to start doing also January 5th, it'll be the first night. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys some planning to do. All right. So we did a fundraiser. We raised some money for a local family in Dahlonega last few weeks. You guys were awesome. And you exceeded what we needed by far. So we had our next idea to raise some money, and I'm gonna go ahead and tell you this is what we're raising money for: the Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation. What's he doing?
Fish nothing but Carolina rigs all day. Biggest 5 fish wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that would
That's insane.
I mean,
Yeah.
it would be fun to do a one bait only, like do like 2 boats, have a camera in each boat.
But it's got to be
Just-
something that you can
Yeah, but
produce
something
with.
fun.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
you
like-
can produce with a Carolina
You
rig
can.
certain times of the year.
Okay,
Exactly.
we'll that and that's a possibility.
Put a drop shot in Danny's hand. Tell him go at it.
I can do that. So anyway, so you kind of hear what we're going, these kind of ideas. So anyway, January 5th. So again, let me get back to what we're going to do. So we're going to start raising money for this charity. It's not really a charity. It's it's a nonprofit. It's the Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation. All right. It's the world's leading nonprofit dedicated to childhood brain tumor. That community, they've served 28,000 U.S. children and teenagers. All their services are free. Okay. They do all this free to the families and all like that. You can
And
go,
boom.
huh?
Looks like
It looks like y'all did
Donation.
set up a
Mario!
right there. You got the donation set up.
donation set up.
Well, there
And
you
you got
go.
Your
Sarasota
outdoor?
tarpon trip. Here we
Okay,
come.
do a trout trip with Dalton Tankersley.
I
Okay.
knew that guy sounded familiar. He catches some big trout.
Well, that's okay. There you go. So there you go.
Where's
Where's he out of?
I think he's a.
Is
I
he
think
is
all over North Georgia. I think he goes out of state too, if I'm not mistaken. I think I follow him on Instagram.
All
and
right,
Facebook.
well,
thank-
we'll
thank
get
you,
into
your
that.
outdoor adventures.
Yeah, we'll have to get
Absolutely.
into some interesting things about the streams in North Georgia
Perfect.
here in a little
So
while.
we will do
Sounds
that.
good.
But we're going to raise money for the Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation. You can go to www.curethekids.org to kind of see. Now, here's my goal. All right, guys. Here's my goal. $2,500. That's $2,500. So if that sounds like a pretty good chunk, but if we all give a little bit, here's what we're going to get. Here's your reward for helping me raise. If we raise $2,500, put the camera on this man, please. Take this hat off. Do you see this? If we raise $2,500, we're going to shave his head live
Yep.
on this episode, on an episode of this.
Yep.
We are going to shave the mullet that the women love. He is willing to give up. Samson here is willing to give up.
Samson.
He's willing to give up.
Cut off
He-
the locks.
He is going
Yeah.
to willing to give up his hair if we can raise $2,500.
Are we getting the razor and going chrome
No,
dome?
no,
No,
I
we're
ain't-
gonna-
I ain't doing
that's
that.
what I wanted to do.
I can't do that. I got a little in at the house. I
If
won't
there ain't no
remember who
turtle
I am.
wax,
Yeah.
it don't count.
His mommy said we couldn't go no more than
I'll
number
do
two.
like a 2.
There
We're
you
going
go.
to do number
short,
two.
that's short enough.
But that's very short. You
Hey,
better
and-
hope these stimulus checks don't hit.
no, seriously. This is the thing. Donate all you want. I'd love to see it blow 2,500 out of the water. I would.
Oh heck
I
yeah.
take cancer a serious thing. I mean, my grandmother, she was a cancer survivor. She survived until it moved to her brain.
Yeah.
I mean, I take it seriously. So let's blow this out of the water, guys.
There we go. There's
25,
another
let's
donation
blow it
right
out.
there.
Yeah, we will.
It's
If-
going to be a good time. Y'all are going to have a good show when we
I
start
take
shaking
Josh.
this thing off.
Is Josh over there? Or did he have to go to the bathroom?
Memories.
How much would it cost to get you to shave your beard?
Look at him. I ain't saying nothing now.
I ain't never seen Josh without a beard. You just hear his laugh. That's his way of saying, "Oh no."
That
He
ain't
ain't doing
happening.
that.
Yeah.
That
ain't
I've got my
happening.
own motivations for when this
Josh,
is going.
Josh, would you shave it for 5,000?
Will Phil put the beard on the line with it?
Ah.
Ooh.
for $2,500.
How about
How,
$5,000?
how about 5,000?
How
We
about
do
5,000?
my head and your beard.
$5,000?
I can't.
It's a good
It's
cause.
$5,000.
It's a
I'd
great,
almost
great,
think
it's
how
a
long-
great cause.
How long did it take you to grow that?
This is over 2 years of work. We're
Okay,
going on
my
3
hair will
years.
grow back in like under 6 months.
Yeah.
So.
How about this?
This is
For
yeah.
$3,000, I'll fish in my drawers at the first elite tournament.
No,
Ooh.
no. Here's,
No,
now,
it's gonna be-
here's
it'll be
better.
15 degrees
Here's
outside.
better. If we do 3,000, me and you're going out on my boat, and we're going to put you on the deck, and we're going to watch you fish and video all day just to make fun of you.
Hell, I'll do that for free.
Are you gonna make
Shit,
them
never
use?
mind, it ain't worth it if it's
That's
free.
right.
You gonna make them throw swim baits?
I swim baits.
See, make him throw something he hates.
I will put up an FX rod for a drawing to everyone that donates. There you go.
That's great.
So,
All good, good match.
great.
So anyway,
donation right
listen,
there.
Danny, 4,000 if you don't do it.
Ironic name too, bearded
Oh,
beast
that's- yes,
fishing.
that's Joshua. That's
Hi,
right.
Josh.
Hey, so they pay 3,000. Okay, for you to put your pants back on. Hey, listen, that's
Nobody
true.
wants to see
That's
Danny.
true. I mean, if you see me naked, you know though. So somebody said about God having a sense of humor with you today.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he gave me looks, but he didn't hit the rest of it. That, I'm just it's all make him throw a whopper plopper all day. I just assume be beat. All right. So anyway, $2,500 is the goal. If we can come up with some other stuff, we'll throw in with that. So that's going to start January 5th. Give
So-
everybody a little break.
I saw Chris Taylor mention the AR drawing is still going on there too.
Oh, that's right. I need to mention that too. Yeah, we're still raising money for the Marshall family. Definitely don't want to do away with that. The AR drawing is January 30th. What's up, Chris? Glad you can make it. So we'll do that as well. We're gonna we got tickets here at the store. $10 for that to get you a chance to win an AR. Pretty cool. And all that money goes to the Marshall family. So we're gonna have two good things going on here at Fish North Georgia to help out with Marshall family doing that,
Somebody's getting an AR and somebody's getting an FX rod.
and somebody's getting a haircut.
That's a win.
I'm going to get the haircut.
You're gonna get a haircut.
Y'all are going to blow this out of proportion. So.
Yeah, that's it.
Man, it's going to be like a bomb.
Write down, Danny, about the FX ride. I suffer from. Yeah, I know. I won't forget. I won't forget. So, also here's our announcement with the elites for you guys that are fishing with the elites, or if you're just interested in fishing with the elites. We have another sponsor that's coming on board. This one's really big, but we kind of have to do a little work to earn it a little bit. So it's kind of interesting how this is working. But Johnson Outdoors, if you know Johnson Outdoors, they are the owner of Humminbird and Minn Kota. So we yesterday had a very good conversation with them, and they are going to be one of the sponsors for the Elite Series. Now, what they've done this year is they put some stuff up towards the production cost of the filming and stuff that we're going to do. And for the team of the year, they're going to give 50% off on any Humminbird product, any of the fish finders or anything like that. So 50% off. And then Duncan Lewis, which is the distributor for Humminbird in this area, is going to give 30% off on any of their trolling motors with Minn Kota and stuff like that. Now,
That's a
here,
good deal.
it is a good deal, but here's the key. If we make them happy in 2021, if we show them that the Elite Series is not just your regular John Boat Club, if it is something that is going to grow and we grow it and we do it professionally, then in 2022, they're going to make a considerable sponsorship as far as with prizes and products and maybe even some cash though on top of it. We'll see what we can do. But I got told, hey, let's start here. Let's give it a year. If you guys do what you say you can do, then we're all in. So guys, Humminbird, Minn Kota are now sponsors of the Electric Elite through Johnson. And this is not just talking with a local rep. I mean, this is coming straight from the mothership of Johnson. So Johnson Outdoors. So we appreciate if any of their reps are watching tonight. Thank you very much. We're going to do our best to make them proud of what we're building and to be a part of it in the future. So again, Humminbird and Minn Kota on board with the Electric Elite. And so there we got that stuff. Yep, I said that, and now we're getting close. So to actually talking about trout, you guys have been here
25 minutes.
25 minutes. That's
there.
actually one night.
First
I
half
went.
hour down.
Thank you and good night.
Well, so we got to. One time I went an hour before we even got talking about the stuff.
You need to speed it up. So
We had a lot of stuff to do. We had to cover a lot of stuff. All right. So anyway, here is the this week. The question of the week is sponsored by our company, True Grit. And so if you want the finest jigs made,
come to True
hand-dyed,
Grit.
that's right. Come to True Grit. Come here at Fish North Georgia, and we will set you up. Got a lot of big plans for True Grit coming down the line next year, guys. That we've been.
I back them 100%.
They're good, ain't they?
They're great.
They are great. They're great. Can't get any better. A lot of stuff planning for that. So where's Ron? Ron, are you out there? Since my question of the week got I need to do longer shows. Yeah, I can do it. Where's Ron? He was going to do the question of the week. Come on, Ron. Huh? You want me to get him up here? Alex Green.
Alex, you need to come up here.
Let's hear the
All right,
question of the
Ron.
week.
All right. Yeah, we'll talk to Alex in a second. I need the question of the week, and the winner will get a True Grit prize pack. What angler was the first to win a Bassmaster Classic out of a Skeeter bass boat?
Jacob?
All right, who can get that? Buddha's probably Googling it right now. What angler was the first to win a Bassmaster Classic out of a Skeeter bass boat?
What, Rick Clinton?
I was gonna say, yeah. Why does it sound like Hank Parker or Rick Clinton comes to name?
I don't know. I have no idea because
I mean, that's just
That's
what
like
pops
I'm
in my-
afraid to
but-
guess because what if you guessed right?
Well,
Clinton's always been a nitro guy.
I mean,
Jackster
but-
Thurman, me.
Clun's been
No.
around
I like
for so
that answer.
freaking long.
Jay-
No.
Like,
Jay Ellis?
well, that's the thing, and two,
That's BJ.
a lot of
not
that
JS.
stuff. That's from when I used
Elias.
to really watch a lot of bass fishing. I mean,
I mean, here's the thing:
I was thinking Roland.
Listen, I don't have.
God, he's been around so long.
I have no
Yeah,
clue.
Years old.
So I don't even know who wins.
That's got to be.
Okay, James
someone.
Harmon.
And Jimmy
Okay, I'm
Houston,
here.
too. Kevin
Oh
Van
my
Dam.
God, Harmon figured out YouTube. Harmon is on the YouTube tonight. Oh, great. I don't know the answer. So
Kevin Can.
Kevin Candam.
KVD is the winner.
No, that's if
Okay,
he was
so-
a beaver.
Okay, so Eric Beasley, you technically beat Buddha, which is a hard thing to do.
Is it Kevin?
I don't know.
It's someone.
No. Jacob said no. It's not Kevin Van Dam.
KVD is the incorrect answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin Van Dam has always been a nitro guy. Like I don't remember him ever.
Okay, so listen, we've got drama here with the question of the week.
Oh,
Alton Jones. Listen, everybody's saying
Whoa.
KVD. The guy that asked the question said KVD, and then Nathan said no, he hasn't. Danny, did you fart? I can smell you through the screen.
I mean, it looks like he ain't
Harmon-
showered in 2
Harmon-
weeks.
Look at this.
Harmon,
hair.
what are you doing
Yeah.
here? Like you can't drop shot for trout.
Bass
Rick
provided the
that's
boat.
actually been proven untrue. You
Okay,
can.
so
I've
listen,
seen
Rick
it.
Clun. All right, so
Is any of our
Seen it done.
No, hell,
What do you got, Jake?
I'm just giving him shit.
Oh,
Pork
I know.
Taco, Jay Ellis.
Well,
See, there is
gotta give
52
him-
answers
you
going on
build
right
the
now.
Build
We're
the
gonna
hope,
lose.
and then you smash the hope. You build the hope, and then you smash the
No,
hope.
no, we're gonna build hope.
We're gonna build hope. Okay.
We know right now Eric was the first to say KVD. If KVD is the actual right answer.
Okay, so
Look,
KVD
that's
has
it.
It
been.
was KVD. Jacob just said it was KVD.
Well, why the hell are y'all saying it?
2000, because I thought KVD ran nothing but nitros.
See, that's past.
Okay,
what
so
I paid
Eric
attention
Beasley,
to.
Eric Beasley, you are the winner of the True
Huh.
Grit prize pack. There you go. I mean, I was totally,
Yeah, that's Eric.
I was totally lost.
I thought KVD ran nothing but a nitro.
See, that's post when I really
the
started.
dangerous part of
paying
that was the
attention
first
to it.
part of that
Yeah.
sentence where you said "I thought,"
I thought, dang,
I thought that's what he runs.
and you was wrong.
I thought that
For a
too.
year,
hey, at
apparently.
least apparently it wasn't painful.
Yeah, no.
What?
You thinking?
Oh,
Huh? Okay, all right. So anyway, Eric Beasley, that is the winner, correct? All right, Eric. If we'll get your address and all that, we will send it out for those guys. For Nathan and Chris Nation, if you're actually watching tonight, your hats are going to be on the way as soon as our hat boxes get in. All right, because I have sent every box out that we have. Man, I was doing Amazon boxes, other people's boxes, just sitting them out. We got
ripping everything off.
ripping everything off of there. I got to get a hat out.
Georgia bat.
That's right. So we have a box coming, and so your prizes from last week's show, the hats from Waters Heating and Cooling. I said it right that time. Will be going out just as soon as possible. Huh?
What's the phone number?
I have no idea.
770-773.
Hey, Chris. Come on, dude, help me out.
I don't know it.
I can't. Jacob's been in here 15 times, and I can't remember his name.
Line, please.
Huh? Lifeline?
Line?
Where? What did I miss?
Hey, if everybody watches, they know where to go because you say it every week.
Paul, cut your ear hair.
Wow.
That's brutal.
Your ear hair.
Your hair. Wow.
Wow.
Somebody said need a fish North Georgia jacket. Actually, I seen one upstairs today. It's more of a windbreaker, but it's pretty sweet.
That's right. Where can you
check
get one?
out the website, guys? It is an awesome looking windbreaker.
773-0073, Chris Nation. I knew somebody would come through.
That
I
should
love
be the
you
question
guys.
1 week.
It was a question.
It was a question
It was
last
a question.
week.
That's a good question.
It was the question of the week last week because I've said it so many times, and hell, I can't win that. So I appreciate you guys for saving me like that. So, I'm doing these shows sober right now. It's kind of hard to work with this, doing them sober. So
straightened you out.
Or what are we laughing at before we get going?
Jeremiah's comment.
Do you know Jeremiah?
I don't know his comment. I know the situation though. That
Oh my goodness! Well, look at that.
Violence.
Ron Pendergrass, Carolina rig for trout. Done it personally, lightweight with a small worm.
Yeah, it's effective.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. There we go. All right,
Yeah.
Savage. All right, here we go. All right. So, guys,
Let's get going.
let's get going. Enough fun. Let's get serious.
Turn it over to these boys.
Listen,
me and you are sitting back
we're getting ready
relaxing.
to be quiet because this episode is about trout fishing, and my knowledge of trout fishing is going up to the Walmart, getting a Panther Martin in the yellow and little red, and going up to the creeks and throwing that Panther Martin down, let it slide, catching the snits, which are the standard.
What's a snit?
9-inch trout. But
Oh, it's called a stalker.
because of the federal budgetary increases, they actually increased it to a 10-inch trout a couple years ago.
Oh,
So that's why there have been actually bigger fish going in the rivers as stockers, anyways.
Well, there you go. Hell, all right, there you go. See,
I said
I don't know what I'm talking about.
Man, you're just gonna sit back.
No, that just
Shut up.
happened 2 years ago. So
We're gonna sit back and shut up and let these boys have it.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to do. But
Yeah,
anyway, so we don't know. We're bass guys, or just and like I said, or the guy that goes up there to the standard, when they drop the stockers out and catch our limit and go home and eat them, which is very good. I like trout. It's good, and you guys.
I'll go on record and say that there is nothing wrong with doing that.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree.
I mean, I'd rather catch that than a stalker.
absolutely.
Yeah, but that thing I'd ate too.
That takes-
that's a meal right there.
I would have got some pictures. And
I
gotta
wouldn't
think
feel
about-
good about eating that though.
You got to think about the man hours invested in this fish versus the man hours invested in the stalker.
What are you talking about? They put it in crate and it grows, right? Or are you talking about painting it? Because I know it's hard to paint a fish that's mounted.
That's right. It is.
It's like
I'd assume
it's like $14 an inch too.
Oh, it's more than that. More than that.
That's what she said.
But yeah, he's just digging that hole deeper now.
I seen Danny's face, then Paul started laughing.
Oh my goodness. So anyway, guys, we don't know. Basically, a lot of times on this show, I'll have an idea of what we're going to talk about. I got it written down, but on this one, when it got to this section, I put trout. I put where do we start? Okay.
Swim bait.
So I don't know.
There's
We're going to
the
let
juiciest juice of all.
you guys out there with your comments and stuff. Okay. So not that I haven't been paying attention to you guys, but I'm going to start doing that, and you guys can kind of help out here with the questions for you guys. So you see a lot of the answers right there, corn in a split shot with a Zebco 202. And that's the way a lot of us,
Yeah.
I would say bass guys have approached trout over the years.
Well,
That's
see,
it
what
is.
I'm seeing is a lot of guys suggesting successful lures that
Right.
work,
right.
and that's fine. I think what is more important is to develop a style based upon what kind of fish you want to catch when you're going for trout, because you're going to have a lot of different opportunity in different ways.
Okay.
And it's also going to be based upon where you're fishing it. When we're specifically talking about North Georgia here,
Right.
there's a huge difference in here versus other places, like especially Tennessee
Okay.
or Arkansas, for example, the White River.
No, I got a guy that I work with. He goes up there twice a year.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I am. And Alex Green and I and his wife have all gone up there and absolutely had a slammer time during the summer. I was out there earlier this year in January and had a great time. Caught another 24-inch brown, and it was great watching that fish chase and hit. Saw even bigger ones. But they're
fun.
It's super fun.
Okay.
So fun.
So let's start with this, because this is okay. So we know there's trout streams. You have Brook in Georgia? You have Brook trout.
Yes.
You have rainbows, and they might not be native, but you have rainbows, and then you have brown trout. So of the three, which are not native?
The only natives that we have in Georgia are actually a certain type of brook trout. They're called the SABT, or Southern Appalachian strain brook trout. They've been only found literally in the southern states right here. Now they stock normal brook trout that are northern strain brook trout that you'll see as well. Right. Those fish do not color up as brightly as the SABTs. It is probably one of the most beautiful fish.
And they're very small, right?
They can grow larger. If you look back in history at the Foxfire books, those are a great example of recorded history stuff. They actually have pictures in there of some of the old frontiersmen and homesteaders that had, 14, 16, 18-inch brook trout that were native fish here.
Right.
Here's the problem. That's all. We're talking about time periods that were prior to the mining and logging that went through North Georgia, which destroyed
made a lot of pollution in the streams and everything.
It silted everything up. It destroyed. The biggest problem was it destroyed all the topsoil, which is where that had been there for thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of years.
Right.
So it had set up a good nutrient base. We also had chestnuts back then. Those chestnut trees are huge hardwoods that provided an immense amount of shade and actual nutrients into the stream because of the chestnut falling into the water, surprisingly. That and animals eating them, obviously.
Right.
But with all of the mining, where they would use water monitors, they do giant water hoses and just spray the hillsides down. Yep, exactly. That combined with the logging and the clear cutting.
Right.
And then the chestnut blight, and now the woolly adelgid, which is it's all the Carolina hemlock that you see around here that's dying off. That's what that is. But these things each contribute in their own individual way to cutting down the factors that provided nutritional value in the streams here.
Okay.
And you have to have a complete food chain to have good sized fish. We have it's a complete, but it's very weak in a lot of streams. There's not a lot of biomass because of what I described before with the removal of the topsoil and getting down to that bedrock, which is usually, it's based in granitic or metamorphic rocks. And this stuff doesn't have the limestone in it that you need. Because if you go to those states, like I was saying, Arkansas, Tennessee,
it's got more nutrients in the
Montana,
water,
yeah. Utah, Colorado, these places all have limestone. Some of them have volcanic rocks as well, but that nutritional value is hypercritical to the food chain from literally the smallest thing up. So all the bugs that trout eat, because if you're thinking about it this way, these fish are on a treadmill 24/7 if they're in a stream or a river.
Right.
And they're used to picking up breadcrumbs unless they get to a certain size where they decide to say, you know what? Hey, look, there's a fish. I'm going to eat that.
Gotcha.
That didn't take as much energy. I need to do that again.
Harmon goes, he's got to get his dictionary out to understand some of these words. And that's kind of
ask questions, man.
That's honestly sitting where I'm thinking, because listen, that's about the most educated answer that's ever appeared on the show here at Fish North Georgia.
We've had some fish biologists on here. I mean, that sounded better.
Yeah, I mean, he's talking biomass and limestone.
Let's go back to this. So, I mean, what are the native fish? I see some
brook trout. That's the only native fish that are native to.
Okay,
east.
so they stock the browns and the rainbows.
The browns and the rainbows are stocked. Now, caveat to that, you do have wild populations of all three of those fish, though.
But they're just not native.
They're not native. That's the big thing. Now, like I was saying, because of that nutritional deficit that we have in the food chain, it makes reproduction real hard. You also look at all the silt, sand that we have in the rivers and that comes into the lakes. That also makes it hard for these fish to breed. So
what does it take for a trout to be able to breed? They just not swim up in a rock and drop their eggs? Like the salmon do and stuff in the Alaska?
They do. They create a redd, in the gravel. But the thing is if those eggs are covered by any sort of silt or anything that's going to prevent them from receiving oxygen from the water, it's going to kill them. It just suffocates them.
wow.
And that's the same thing with the bugs too. So when I first started fishing the Chattahoochee back in '86, the bug hatches that we had here were incredible. They were comparable to anything that I've experienced fishing out west. And you'd literally have to walk around like face covers,
Right.
because there's so many bugs.
Gotcha.
But because of the flooding that we've had in the rivers, in the Chattahoochee in particular, because that's the main one I fish, that's where you get fish like this that come up. That's really been affected heavily by flooding and siltation, and it's affected the food chain. And so now what you have to get fish like this is you have a lot of fish that you'll catch that are very small, or that'll get up to about your 10-inch range.
Read that last one.
And-
Paul. Joe Paul's sober.
Sober, Eric.
He's sober. Hey, listen, just right now, listen.
For now.
Right now, we're all in shock because we're trying to
I'm
figure out all
trying
the,
to soak all
You're
this.
getting
I know.
class.
we're getting a
This is-
massive
yeah.
class. So this
They didn't.
So basically, the rivers become Altoona. Exactly.
Savage.
And you want to know something ironic? If you actually go look up around Victoria's Landing on the Bells Ferry side of Altoona, you look at all the street names. They all have gold in them. Oh yeah, Bridge Mill. You look at all the street names that are around there. Those are built on the biggest mine dumps, the biggest gold mine dumps in the state from the gold rush.
I've been looking at all that stuff,
Yeah.
panning a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yes. We're gonna go panning. That's
hey
one
man,
of the things
that's
we'll do.
it's
Yeah.
fun stuff, man.
Oh,
There's so much gold here people don't realize. But,
Exactly.
that's
That's
a-
like my dad was like, you ain't gonna find shit.
oh, you'll find it. It ain't gonna be
I went
big.
the other
but
day.
it's-
It looks like a little pencil tip, but I was like,
Yeah.
proved you wrong, didn't I, old man?
Yeah.
Hey, I was happy.
I bet.
It might not be worth 10 cents, but
I was
by
gonna
God,
say-
I proved him wrong.
Were his eyes crossing when he was looking at it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's old. He's got that real bad eyesight. He's like, there ain't nothing in there.
He sends me a picture. I'm like, what the hell is that? He goes, that's gold. I went, where?
I was like, it's in there. Believe
I
me.
promise.
It is
It's
in there. I don't doubt him a bit. So
Fun history fact.
Yeah,
there's gold in them dar hills.
there
Well,
you go. Right.
Seriously, when the Pikes Peak strike happened and everyone was going to leave Dahlonega, that was what the
That
mayor
was
of
the phrase,
Dahlonega
yeah.
said to try and get him to stay.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's
There's-
gold.
There's
Oh,
gold in
really?
their
Yep.
hills. That's
There's
where
enough-
it came from.
There's enough gold that
The-
meets California. I read all about that.
There's gold in them there hills,
Mhm.
and that
That's from here.
originated from
stood out,
Dahlonega.
stood out
That's
there
right
on his
here.
balcony waving his hands. Don't
Yep.
go, don't go. They still there.
You don't sound as smart as he does when he says
Hey,
that.
I'm just ready for some more
He
information.
ain't wrong though. I'll tell him that. I mean, he's
Well,
absolutely
that is
right.
no.
Wait, it
Paul
sounds-
sounds smart. I'm talking about him.
Hey, it sounds like we need to go gold painting with this guy.
Hell, I'm just
I ain't
gonna
done that
fish
in
with
years.
him.
but I think
There's a
we
video for
fishing.
There's a
Fishing
video.
we
Gold
can do.
panning or the fishing.
Gold fishing North Georgia.
Go fishing. Yeah.
gold pan in
Well,
North
there
Georgia.
was a question about
The
golden
golden
trout.
trout.
How did they get? To
Okay,
North Georgia?
golden trout. So that's people just buy them and have them stocked, usually in the Soquel or the New
Canoe.
Tutla.
Yeah.
I don't know if Big Canoe
I
does.
think that's where Jacob Gordon caught his.
I could be
Colby's talking
wrong.
about it. I'm pretty sure that can come from Big Canoe.
I know Alex Green. If he's still on, he fishes up there good, but I'm not sure if they have goldens up
Hopefully,
there.
we
but-
haven't run them off yet.
I don't think so.
Big
No.
All right, yeah, because I mean, listen, this is it. Listen,
and you'd probably want to talk to him because he's a bad man with Muskie. A bad man.
Is it true?
Okay,
Muskie are
so-
in Tennessee and North Georgia.
They're
I know
getting
they're
there.
in Tennessee.
So here's the thing. So originally, yeah, because of the streams, yes, historically they were there.
Mm.
The issue has been obviously the way that streams have been upkept over the years. So currently they're not there. Do they have the potential to get up there? They stocked them in Parkville Lake up there in Tennessee, which is on the Ocoee. They keep running that up. They can get it eventually up here.
I've seen some guys on YouTube catching them up in Tennessee and stuff
Yep.
like that. So
Yeah.
that's the one thing I want to do. But let's keep talking trout because this guy.
Well,
that's
it's a good tie-in because honestly, the muskie fishing, they're called the fish of 10,000 cast.
Mhm.
If you want to chase a big brown trout, especially in the Chattahoochee River or the Toccoa, which are pretty much the two places that you could catch a 2-foot brown trout like that, you're gonna have to think about it in that aspect.
Yeah,
It's a lot of. That's why I said the man hours.
The start of the episode, we was talking about how you seen that fish chase a lure, and you said it did it for like 15,
what do
20
you mean
minutes.
started the episode? That
Yeah,
was the pre-episode.
that was pre-episode.
So
Yeah.
let's talk about the big fish. Let's talk about this big fish right here.
All right. So
And
this
let's we'll back up. We'll go back pre-episode right here. Here we go.
this is Old split jaw. Old split jaw. I caught with Alex Green, and how that all happened was I had just gotten back into trout fishing, and I was just going down a couple minutes from work, and you're free to grab it and take a look at it, man. Go right
That's
ahead.
what I.
The fish are very fish are delicate.
The
They
last
are.
time you heard that, you-
They are.
Shut up, dude.
But the dude who did this work, his name's Brian Russell. His mounts are or his company's called Angler's Choice Fish Mounts, and he does the mounts for the Smithsonian.
It's a great mount.
Seriously?
Yes, sir. He's
Wow.
not cheap,
You
but
see the-
but you see the quality in
if I
this
was
fish
doing
right
stuff
here.
for the Smithsonian, I wouldn't be cheap either.
Yeah, but
Look at that thing.
this fish
Insane, dude.
he's earned the name of he's pretty much turned into the legend of Old Splitjaw, because when I caught this fish, it was in the Chattahoochee and we couldn't tell, but as soon as we got him in the net, he had a split jaw. And from speaking with the biologist, what they explained was more than likely someone had caught him and got him on a stringer. And because these big fish, when they get big, what'll end up happening is they'll start death rolling like a crocodile. And if they can wrap up, get in your line, snap, and they're gone.
Now, is that, do they feed like that? You said when they get a certain size, that's kind of how.
It
They-
usually, yes.
So that's
yes.
what they do if they.
So they
eat
change from being primarily a reactive bug eater to a proactive fish eater. And especially it becomes very obvious in the Chattahoochee because of the disparity of sizes. That usually happens at about 8 to 10 inches on the fish in there. It can happen around 10 to
Don't-
12
don't-
inches, but
dumb
you're
that
talking a
down
fish.
just a little. So you're saying a 10-inch fish is going to stop eating the bugs and start eating.
It'll
Smaller fish.
still eat bugs, but it'll eat other little fish, including other little brown trout or
I mean, I
fingerling
figured
rainbows,
if you got something like this running around eating trout, it's going to get big quick. Right?
Yeah.
Because there's more protein and all that.
and less energy used to get it. So that's the part that I was talking about with proactive versus reactive feeding. To go for fish like this, you have to approach it from a proactive feeding mindset. Kelly Gallup, who he's the owner of the Slide In up in Montana. Montana Fly Company is a company that provides a lot of stuff for him. Yes, I gear fish a hell of a lot, and I also fly fish. Why? Because it works. That's the bottom line. Okay.
So was that caught on gear?
This was caught on gear,
By
Okay.
gear, you mean
conventional gear.
Conventional gear,
Regular
not a
gear.
fly rod.
Yep.
so like hook, sinker, power bait?
No.
Not quite.
That's
Not
conventional to
quite.
me. That's conventional to me.
Woo! Yes, no, I understand, but no.
But
No.
yeah,
Short,
this
short
was,
rod, not long rod.
this was conventional, and this was also, like I said, I had just started back to trout fishing about I think 6 or 8 months before that. But when I met Alex, he had just caught this incredibly gigantic 27-inch behemoth, and he caught it on film. And there's a video on YouTube that you can see. And we were yelling back
In
and
the
forth.
Chattahoochee?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I saw him floating down, and we started yelling back and forth. And he was like, "Well, if you don't mind my dog, you can come fish on my boat." And then I started learning from there.
Gotcha.
And there's so much more to it than that, too. But it took literally fishing 3 to 5 times a week for, sometimes up to 8 hours a day to try to figure out all these different ways that these fish worked and whatnot. And there's also a luck factor that ties in with it
Right.
at that point in time. What solidified it, though, was literally 5 days later. Because this fish was caught on March 12th of 2017. On St. Patrick's Day, I caught a 26 with Alex, and it was in a different section of river lower down. So, but that was like the genesis moment. It's like, aha, okay, so this works. How can I expand? How can I learn more on this? And that's when I started focusing more on the fish rather than what my like a Panther Martin is that I'm, or a Castmaster spoon or
Right,
something
right.
like that, because it's mentality. If you just want to go catch fish, grab a Panther Martin, grab a spoon, grab something like that. You will catch trout 100% if you understand how to read water
Mm-hmm.
in a river. Which is very different than a lake.
Right. Absolutely.
If you want to go for something like this, you got to think bigger, because these fish are proactive feeders. They are going to take advantage of the situations to go after that. Which in this case, what I was throwing was something that imitated a stalker. And it wasn't as big as a stalker by
Right.
no means.
But the coloration and
But the
stuff like that.
coloration was very much a rainbow trout. And that fish,
There you go.
so that fish, it was that we were fishing where was it? I'm trying to remember exactly where it was.
Don't go
It
too-
was
don't
no, I'm
go
not
too
going to go
juicy.
super deep, but with the
Let's go
details.
super deep,
But
man. Let's go.
This was on the hooch. I
Right.
will say this: this was below Highway 20, and what I casted to was a giant root ball. And the way that I typically work stuff like this, because I'm looking for a proactive feeder, and this goes back to why that big fish that we were talking about. So Alex, who's still on here, him and another friend of mine, Walker, we hunted this fish that we nicknamed Triangle Face because he literally had a gigantic triangle face and huge hook jaw. But we hunted him for like 3 months before Alex finally
So
caught
you
him.
had seen him in the water.
Oh, we had him chased for several different days for
Yeah.
15 minutes at a time. But he never would hook because we were fishing from the bank versus fishing from the middle of the river channel. Why does that make a difference? Why do you guys think that would make a difference?
presentation.
Exactly. So, but what's the key
You had a
about that
lucky
base?
guess.
What's
I mean, if you think about it, I
I'm
mean,
just
what's
kidding.
the key about
it's,
it?
it's the same way fishing points on an air.
Now,
Why
why
your
would you?
boat's positioned and everything like that?
Now, why would you fish those points like that? Give me your.
To me,
logo.
I want my bait
I
coming
think
down
this
the
is a
point.
good time for me
Okay.
to go to the bathroom.
Why do you
Yeah.
want it come down that point though?
I guess fish headed to deeper water.
Yeah, they can. But think about it. Why would a fish be off a point?
Yeah, it's waiting for an ambush spot.
Well,
It's,
it's
gonna wait for
wait.
something to come over top of it.
But why would that certain thing come over the top of it? This is what's key.
I guess running from something,
That's it.
getting chased.
So
Because fish coming to
Think of-
deeper water is trying to get away from something. Usually,
exactly. So think about our presentation with that big fish. We were on the bank casting to the middle of the stream, and he would come all the way up to the bank, but he wouldn't hit. So he was confused by the presentation. Whereas when Alex caught him, he was in a boat and was able to cast to the bank, imitating just like you're talking
Yeah.
about an evading bait fish. So with big browns like this, you have to really think about that. And really with any proactive feeding fish, that's what you're going to have to think about is how, and the size presentation doesn't matter. All it's going to do is change the size of the fish and the likelihood of, and lower the likelihood of you catching them. Because the bigger the bait, the more, or the
more aggressive the fish.
the more aggressive they can be more aggressive, but it's less likely that you'll see them. You'll go more hours in between and an actual fish catch.
Now, is it the same? Like saying you're out with a fly rod throwing a fly. I mean, I've seen people, they make the same cast just over and
Okay,
over and
so-
over and over. Is it are you trying to make the same presentation with a fly, or is it totally different?
Okay, so that brings it back to exactly where we're talking about proactive versus reactive feeding. So the reactive feeding fish typically, are looking for the bugs that are coming down the stream to them. Now, it's not to say these big fish don't still feed like that. They do, but primarily they're looking for that big, easy meal ticket.
So they're just waiting for something to swim by, basically.
Yeah, or if something gets scared up.
Yeah.
So now they do get the wild hares where we've literally seen them chasing stalkers out of the water, and it won't be the right conditions, and that's rare, but it does happen. But again, going back to the bait presentation, that's really the key to it. Is Alex presented his bait in a way that got that fish's attention, and he chased it, and finally hooked him and got him, and that was that.
What was he
Same thing with
throwing?
this.
I want to know what he was throwing.
What he was throwing for that?
Like swim bait, like
Oh, no,
rooster tail, or
No, it's more like Rapala type stuff.
like broke
Type
back
stuff.
minnow, jerk bait.
Like,
Like, come on, just come, give us a little something.
and then it got real
Because I
quiet.
mean, listen,
All
I'm going to get some yellow power bait and put that thing on 2 sinkers and let it.
Yeah.
I
float
mean,
down
you
the creek.
can, but all you're going to be seeing
Just stalkers.
is
Yeah.
stalkers, maybe small browns too.
Yeah.
But
Okay. Huh.
you have to be, and that's why I said it's not really about what you're using, if it's a crankbait or a freaking rooster tail or a swim bait.
Presentation.
It's about presentation and understanding the fish that you're going after, because literally these fish, that's why I said
This
this
thing
is
sounds like it's like hunting a 160-inch buck.
it's like it is. It's
That's what
or
it
hunting a
sounds
muskie. It's
Yeah.
just like that in the
Crazy.
Chattahoochee, because there's so much pressure on that river all the time. These fish are incredibly smart,
Mhm.
and it takes a lot. And they're also, because of the nutritional deficit, there's been a study done where they figured out the size is usually about 20% smaller on these fish in that river than
What they usually are. for their
than the
age.
average, the national average. Yeah.
Now, say you start moving further up into North Georgia,
Mhm.
you're getting out of the Hooch and stuff. You're going up around the Dahlonega, Blue Ridge area, stuff like that. I mean, do they have better nutrition in those creeks up there? Since I know they should be a little cleaner the farther up you get.
No.
No,
No.
because I know the Hooch. It's running through all the big cities. I know there's a ton of pollution running off into them.
You still have to have clean water for trout,
Mhm.
for sure. So, but I will say that the best amount of bugs I've seen is down around from Medlock or Jones Bridge on the Chattahoochee down. Now, some streams up in the mountains, especially at night during the summers, they get crazy with bug hatches.
Yeah.
But it's hard to fish them then. They're mostly freestone. They're the only other tailwater that you're going to see up there is the Toccoa, really, that has trout. But everything else is considered a freestone. What you got, Danny?
Oh, no. I noticed Paul is always posting pictures of trout. And so I'm assuming that most of your trout, Chattahoochee?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's close to home.
Well, absolutely. So, but you have some nice browns
Yeah.
posted too.
He's got some great
So,
browns.
Do you use the same type of mentality when you're approaching it? 'Cause he
Probably
seems like-
get scaled down a little bit.
Right?
I still like to catch something. I don't like to go out and get my butt handed to me.
Right.
But I think since I've kind of gotten in contact with Phil and with Alex, and it's kind of changed my mentality about them for sure. I like to say that I don't think that a lot of people make trout out to be this like magical fish,
Right.
and
That's what it sounds like. I'm
It's
mind
like-
blown.
honestly, like I don't think I find them that different than a lot of
They're not.
like
They're not-
they're a big apex predator in a river.
Yep.
I took a lot of what I learned trout fishing on the Hooch. We went to the Okmulgee.
And
We were bass fishing
slayed,
down there.
Yeah, slayed with shoal bass, didn't you?
Yeah, and use the same tactics and kind of break the water down the same way, and they're there.
So if I go throw a
It's-
jerk bait in the Hooch, I'm eventually going to run into something like that.
Maybe
It's possible. I'm not saying it's
I mean,
impossible.
the fish
It's all
the fish I run into
Okay,
are probably 3 sizes down from that guy, and I'm lucky to see a half dozen a season. And
But you've still
out there
had
a
some good,
bit. Yeah.
but you've still had some good like
Yeah.
18, 20-inch fish this year, though.
Yeah.
So, and that's
I mean,
that's the thing is that when you get to that size of a fish on the Chattahoochee, you're doing some real work on that river because, like we said, there's so many disadvantages as an angler that we have that go against us. Really, and it's no fault of the fish; it's just the environment.
So you're not going to be catching nothing like this up around the Dahlonega area. And
No.
Unless
Yeah,
you
the
go
only place-
private
that's
or
just like
Soquee.
Stalker,
Yeah,
like
the
Stalker.
Yeah.
Soquee
Stalkers
River.
and
Soquee.
Yeah.
Is that how you pronounce it? Soquee?
That's how I say it.
It
but
sounds right to
the,
me.
the
that's
Soquee.
Soquee.
the
So all
Soquee.
those fish are just going to be like your stalkers and your natives and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It's-
and it's
Your natives are going to be
Real high
altitude
elevation.
fish.
Yeah.
High altitude.
you gotta go. You gotta
go for them.
you gotta bust your butt for those fish. You literally need to. You'll be hiking on what's called blue lines. You go find a topo map, look about 2,500 feet, and find a blue line and walk. And that's pretty much how you fish them. It's fun. It's a totally different way. It is tactical fishing. A lot of the time, it's good to wear knee pads because you're having to crawl in to fish for these fish,
Right.
I ain't
crawling
doing
through
that for the
rhododendron and
trout.
stuff.
Well,
Right,
well,
so-
outside
I mean,
my hand.
They're awesome little fish. Like it's something that
Yeah.
I would like to do, but I guess for me that's not something that I've kind of wanted to seek out.
Yeah,
Um,
it's like I've said to you, like my focus ever since I caught this fish and fishing with Alex and seeing the fish that other people have caught, like my focus is I have blinders on to catch a 30-inch brown trout.
so that's your goal, right?
That's
The
it.
30-inch trout and 30-inch trout in Georgia.
I would prefer it to be
anywhere.
out of the Chattahoochee, but it comes down to you don't see that many people that catch 30-inch browns.
How old is a
period.
30-inch trout?
They've aged them anywhere up to 23 years old, so it could
Oh,
be.
seriously?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they can live
Really?
a long time. Yeah.
What's the
Brook-
lifespan on a trout?
On brown trout, they can be up to 23 years. That's how long
Up
that's
to
wow.
23, okay.
yeah,
Wow.
that's how old they've aged them.
So right now, so you got a real good compliment from your buddy. You're more likely to get it than anyone in Georgia right now. So you're just like possessed. I mean, this is
Pretty much.
This is it.
That's why
Not possessed, but you just when you say blinders, like this is it.
This is
I
it.
don't care about
That's why
anything
the
else.
majority of the fish pictures that you see are brown trout from the hooch, because that's A, it's close to home, and B, like I said, I try to spend 3 to 5 days a week on there if I can,
Okay.
because it takes a lot of work and a lot of man hours to figure these out and figure the fish out and figure out how the river works, because it's so different from Buford Dam versus down at Lake Jones Bridge.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
You guys like that down south. I've been down there a couple times, and it seems a lot different. It's a lot more alive down there.
It is.
Than it
That's
is up at Buford.
Really?
because there's been less scouring, the river has more room to spread out. So because in some of those sections, and Paul can tell you, there's literally areas that are 30-foot solid sand cliffs on some parts of the Chattahoochee up near Buford Dam. And that's a result of the dam cycles that they have of the releases. It scours the river down.
Okay.
And what it's done is scour these huge banks of sand in there. And that's part of where the siltation issues come from, but that's where
Whenever a hard rain comes, it's going to wash that down.
it's not necessarily the hard rain, it's the releases that do it. Because they'll go from that river at low flow is running at 750 CFS. At max flow, it's running at over 11,000 CFS. That's a huge jump. That's a lot of speed.
How far south are we talking? Because I'm not gonna lie, like Chattahoochee Nature Center in Roswell.
Mm-hmm.
Below that?
Oh no, we're talking up McGinnis Ferry.
Okay, good. Because I'm
that
like, that's
area.
a big mud pit right there. I can't
Well,
see
it
trout.
used to not be, and
Yeah.
there used to be trout down there consistently.
That's a cool fishery in its own right.
It
yeah,
is.
but I mean,
The
you got
sluice
to be
is
doing
awesome.
like bass
So
or
pretty.
something at that point right there. Switch over
carp.
there.
Carp.
Carp. Now, our buddy Henry Cowan,
Yep.
loves to fly fish for carp in the summer when the striper bite is.
And that is the man to talk to. If there's
is he
man,
not amazing?
Henry is so awesome.
He is
He's
a
got
good
a
guy.
great new book out. If you guys haven't seen that, you need to check that out. He just came out with a book specifically talking about striper fishing. And if there is anybody that has great information on striper fishing, Henry is the guy.
Is the guy.
Yes,
he
sir.
is awesome.
Danny, I've seen some spots in the hooch, probably 16, 18 feet. Up
Oh, there's
up
over-
around McGinnis. I'm sure there's deeper
There's
than
some
that, but
25-foot holes for sure.
Yeah,
Seriously.
there's one right up north of Settles.
Yeah.
kind of
Well, think about
below 20. That's got to be 20 feet.
So the big economic recession we had back in 07, 08, that killed off all the dredging that was on the hooch at that point in time. And what we've come to learn was how important that dredging is to the river because of the buildup of silt that's happened at Morgan Falls. Because that behind that dam, it used to be 60 foot deep. Now you can go up there and literally poke your rod tip 2 or 3 foot in the water and it's sand.
Really? That's
Yeah.
sad.
It's real sad, but it's also why that fishery below there is no longer year-round viable trout water.
I got you. Okay, so
It just doesn't stay cold enough.
how about other rivers like the Etowah?
Etowah. Okay, so cool thing about the Etowah and like it's the Coosa, right? That flows out of
Out of Rome.
yeah, but
Yeah.
that goes through Carter's Lake, right?
No.
What is it? What is it that comes out of Carter's Lake? I can't remember.
I don't think that's the Etowah.
It's either the Etowah or the
I think that's
Coosa.
the Coosawati, ain't it?
Coosawati.
Is it Coosawati?
Yeah.
Coosawati.
Okay,
All right,
Coosawati.
Coosawati.
Coosawati. There you go. Thank you,
Okay,
Ron.
yeah.
So yeah, the Coosawati. Now again, this goes back to the geology stuff. Geology is so hypercritically important. The reason why the Coosa is such a good striper fishery, among other things, is because once it goes out of the dam there, and a couple miles below it, it flows over limestone for I think like 20-something miles.
Okay.
And when you have that limestone, what that limestone does is it adds calcium and magnesium to the water. And it's just like with growing tomatoes. You got to have calcium, you got to have magnesium to make those tomatoes grow. It's the same thing with the bugs in the water. So
Okay.
you have more bugs, you have more bait fish. You have more bait fish, you have a more complete food chain for top to
For
bottom.
you guys
Big
would
shell
you guys
factor
would
too, yeah.
see that the same way as doing supplemental feeding on a deer property,
Yeah,
putting in food
absolutely.
plots or something.
I got
Yep.
you.
That it's you want to kind of supercharge
The water.
Yep.
that area to kind of help out your herd, or in this case your school.
Your school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which now all the fish that are in the Chattahoochee, all these browns that are big like this, They haven't stocked any of those fish in there since 2004.
And they found they're reproducing.
They
right?
yeah they are
But they
they've
haven't
been
put any browns whatsoever.
none. They don't stock them. They only stock rainbows in there
Why would they? Why would they stop putting the browns in?
because it's a self-sustaining
Yeah,
population.
they reproduce now. They found,
They're
producing.
considered wild. They're not native, but they're wild.
but when they were stocking them, they had the belief system or in their head that they'll never reproduce. And
Well,
then they started finding.
They weren't sure. They just hadn't done any studies. That's
Gotcha. Okay.
if I win either one of the freaking lotteries, I'd love to throw all of it just to the DNR and just be like, y'all go ham and make this state amazing with fishery.
Smallmouth and Blue Ridge.
Seriously.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they're stocking
Seriously,
them.
I
But
mean,
kill all the spots.
Well, it's
Ooh.
just we need more funding. We're always going to need more funding. But the thing is, like I was saying, this is a bass centric state.
No doubt about it.
And the cold water fisheries just don't get the love that they need to, because like we were talking about, these fish can get bigger than the world record largemouth. Are they going to pull harder than a 15, 20 pound largemouth if same size? Maybe. I don't know. You ever fight a big bass like that in the river? That's a hell of a fight.
Oh, they fight hard.
Yeah.
They'll give it to you.
It's awesome. So I really would love to see the state put more emphasis on cold water fisheries, because it's so underrated. And we used to have, just like you were saying, Waters Creek was an incredible trophy stream, but all the flooding that we have had happen is what killed that stream off. And then you just have to have the proper funding to do that. And with fish that size in the streams we have, a lot of supplemental feeding is probably going to be necessary.
Was you hitting that about Burton, Josh? Is that Harmon? A few years
Burton?
ago, I caught Harmon. A few years ago, I caught a 4-pound rainbow on a drop shot in Lanier while on a trip.
Yeah.
But
That doesn't surprise me.
That doesn't. Yeah. I mean,
What-
hell, there was a, what was it, a
Little-
27-incher that was caught out of there earlier this year.
Little girl caught the 10-pounder.
I've
That was a
told,
beautiful fish.
yeah,
gorgeous.
I've told a lot of people that back in the 80s, we would camp
You
at
could catch
Sodom,
rainbow,
and they would go right in front of the dam and just
dump them. Yeah.
just jump it over the side, and they would come back with a cooler full of. I mean, I don't know what the limit was back in the day, but I just remember seeing big trout in coolers.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Lanier was a
kid.
viable trout fishery. It was essentially like one of the lakes out, like Clear Lake or something out in California. It was a legitimate viable trout fishery, but because of the aging or maturing of the lake,
Right.
just the natural processes, that part of it died off and got replaced with the striper. And now we have things like where we have river turnover. It's a tailwater stream.
Uh-huh.
So we have Buford Dam controlling what happens with the river. Well, since you have such a large impoundment with Lake Lanier up there, that lake stratifies and you get the thermoclines.
Yes.
Okay. So there's a certain point in Lanier where it becomes hypoxic, where there's no oxygen. So no fish go down there. If they do, they're dead. And what happens during the year, the latter part of the year, about August through now, is because we start cooling, we go from being hot to cool. Those temperature thermoclines start changing, and the lake equalizes from bottom to top. But while it's changing over, it turns to like it can be pea green to like a dirty, like coffee brown kind of color.
Right.
But that's from all the flocculants and the sediments that are coming through the dam.
I know something about flatulence.
Listen at you.
I bet he does.
Well, okay. Well, let me ask you this, because
Uh-huh.
there's always a comment.
My comment is I need to get with Dalton Tankersley and go fishing.
With who?
The Dalton guy. I'm pretty sure he's a guide. If I'm not mistaken, he's a guide.
He's a guy.
A guide.
Yeah,
Well, I
Dalton
hope he's
is-
a guy.
Yeah, Dalton, you're right. Dukes Creek has been. It used to be phenomenal. It got poached out real bad. In fact, we were talking about this earlier. They caught a woman that was cast netting in Dukes Creek
so that's
proper
where that happened.
in Smith. Yeah, that was in
Now,
Smith
is that
Gull
like
Woods.
the main way they poach for the fish? They just go out throwing a cast net?
Oh, I mean,
I-
that's probably one of the easiest ways to do it. I would assume. Probably the
Yeah.
most efficient.
Sorry.
Sad.
Oh, yeah,
Sorry.
that is sad. But what I was going to go with is always a comment about when we get to Lake Lanier about stripers or what killed out the trout.
Mhm.
Now,
But that's also why the stripers went from being
Got so
huge
big.
and now they're not.
they're not same reason. That's what I was going
Plus
to
the
say.
fish-
Is
plus the
the
striper.
environment, the age of the lake?
It's the age of the lake and the fact that the lake. I'm not a biologist, but in my opinion, I think that there needs to be a serious study done on that lake.
Are they not stocking any trout whatsoever in
No,
Lanier anymore?
They haven't
Oh,
for
no,
probably
no, no,
25
no.
years,
Yeah.
probably
Really?
25, 30 years. Yeah.
Longer than that. Yeah.
Well, I know when Hammonds carries trout back in the day, I used to go troll them
Yeah.
around points. and
Striper.
stuff.
It still
Yeah.
works.
They'd crush it.
Dude, they
It still
would
works.
Murder 'em.
Yeah.
Still works.
That's still.
Like, you just throw it out behind the boat.
That's
free line
why,
it,
you know,
man.
the guy who was talking about James, who was talking about catching a 4-pound rainbow on a drop shot, that could potentially have been where his rainbow came from. Was literally, it could have been someone's striper bait that grew up.
Oh, really?
Okay.
So what about the one that the lady caught in Lanier? Was it? How did it get so big?
Come down river.
Okay, that's
Because them stripers
Huge.
eating them things.
That's a
There's
huge-
a lot of
there's-
contention about that.
I've seen
Okay,
people
well,
where
you
it's like,
so
oh, it
much
was a-
contention.
It was a
All right,
pet.
so I'm gonna give Paul the first word on this. Apparently,
I mean,
what is the contention on this fish?
I mean, the girl caught the 10-pound rainbow in Lanier last year.
Yep. It was awesome
It was
fish.
awesome fish. If find the picture of them on the
Oh,
boat with
it's
it.
gorgeous.
It is
Yeah.
a beautiful
It's
fish.
technically what they call a Kamloops type of rainbow that you'd see up in Kamloops, Canada.
It's
Those are
gorgeous, gorgeous fish. But there was a lot of talk that fish had gotten washed down from up north. People wanted to speculate about
Yeah.
where
Right,
that fish
absolutely,
came
yeah.
from. And I frankly, I think that had to be a bait fish that got lucky and made it. I can't
See,
I can't actualize a world where that fish goes anywhere he doesn't want to go.
I totally can. When because you've seen
When it's ripping like that.
dude, 20,000 CFS will move whatever it wants.
So y'all think that fish made it from
I think that fish.
way up yonder all the way down here?
I think it could have gotten blown in from the upper Chattahoochee on some of those private waters, or from the Soquel. But because at one point in time, when like that same year, the lake had gone up to, I think at the time it was its second highest recorded.
all the rain.
Yeah.
and
Just a
everything.
couple years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is-
yeah.
Okay.
and
all right.
and the thing with it was I look at those river gauges a lot because I want to figure this stuff out, right? So looking at the data, there was literally points where the river flowing into Lanier was pushing over 20,000 CFS. Normally it's at like maybe 1,000. That's huge amount of water. It moves trees, rocks, whatever it wants. So if a big trout, it doesn't matter how much it tries to find an eddy current. If it just gets blown, it's going to get blown. And that might have been how it got there. We don't know. But
I mean,
I said we'd disagree about something earlier.
Yeah, you know, and
I just kind of see that fish as a bait fish.
but people saying they're like, oh, it's a pet. Somebody released it. I mean,
No,
there ain't people
not-
keeping trout
not-
like that.
not
in a
that
fish
they
tank,
do.
are
No,
they?
they
that
do
fish.
close. Yeah, you're right. Not that type of fish. I don't think anybody
Yeah.
would do that.
I mean,
But there are trout in the classroom in a lot of the elementary schools that are local to the metro area that do actually, once those fish get up to a certain size, they
Release
stock
them.
them as fingerlings in the hooch. So
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So okay.
But
But I mean
That's-
that big fish out of Lanier. I mean that might have been a pellet fish at one point, but
yeah, but if it had been in it,
he'd found him some herring and he'd been
Yeah, I
he'd been
mean, I
eating
feel
good.
like if that was somebody's bait, that thing would have been a candy bar to a
Oh,
trout.
absolutely.
I
It
don't
was a big
think it
striper.
could have lived that long.
I mean, you never know though. I mean, OBT used to sell them 12, 14, 16 inches.
Yeah,
I mean,
they absolutely did.
That's a big enough fish to make it on its own.
That's like
I've
people
seen-
saying gizzard shad ain't Lanier, but
Well,
I've
Shad
seen
in
giant.
Lanier.
yeah, I've seen gizzard shad in there as
Yeah.
well.
And I think
Yeah.
a lot of them's come from people pulling them for stripers and stuff, and them just breeding.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
think
it's how we
very
got
well.
that's how we got bluebacks.
Yeah, which they sometimes show up in the river.
really,
Oh, really? Bluebacks.
like down
do.
the hooch.
Yeah, it's you'll usually have shad kill, and it's weird in the most rivers because this happens out in Arkansas on the White. The holding body of water has to get down to 43 degrees
Okay.
top to bottom because that's when shad, it doesn't matter what species, they're literally so stunned they can barely swim.
Right.
And at that point, they start to get sucked down through the penstocks and blown into the river. And like on the White, because it's such a big body of water, it usually happens yearly there. And so that's just like trout candy. But, after a couple of days of it, the fish get used to it. So it makes it a little harder at times. But on the hooch, it's real hard because it just don't get that cold that often.
Right.
So
Okay.
What about during the wintertime? Means it get pretty
It was-
chilly.
yeah,
Well,
it was
that's-
about 3 years ago we had a kill for sure.
yeah,
I
we did
remember-
exactly.
I remember going down into the river bottom, and I never really had a good impression of how much rise there was during generation until I was like crawling down into one of the drops, and 8 feet off water level, there were dead herring and dead shad in the bushes.
Yeah.
From
wow.
where they'd gotten
They'd
blown
gotten
through the
flushed
dam
down.
and gotten
Wow.
strained out.
Yeah. And they were finding walleye as well up by the dam when
Yeah.
that happened too.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So look, man, I mean, that's
Man, hey, this has been a good episode.
I'm learning
I've got
something.
some info
Yeah.
tonight.
Now let me ask you this. Now let's change course just a little bit.
All right.
All right. There is a, how do I want to say, a way that the guy that fishes for bass and all looks at the trout fisherman.
Mhm.
And as you know, sometimes the trout fisherman
As a
Well,
fancy pantser.
as a fancy pantser, that kind of they
Just look at the
what
back
they're
of
thinking.
Josh's truck.
Yeah, what they're thinking is the fly rod guy who has all the gear and all that.
And
Yeah.
and he thinks that, well, he looks at me from his boat with 2 power poles and
Right, absolutely.
four 12-inch screens and 16 combos on deck.
Right. But the reality of it is, listening to you talk, there's not really that much difference.
No,
We're still targeting
That's-
big fish
yeah.
like
You-
we are.
exactly. And that's why I wanted to focus more on the strategies and talking about what kind of fish you want to go out there versus proactive or reactive fish, because there's a lake up in Montana. I'll tell you this right now. You like fishing bass jigs and trees?
Like flipping?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a threat of a good time?
Yeah. I'll
Okay.
do that all day long if I could.
So check this out. Up in Montana, they had, and this is on the Madison River, there's this place called Quake Lake. Back in the 50s, they had the largest earthquake on landlocked continental U.S. that occurred there. And literally half this mountain slid down, blocked the river up. So the Army Corps had to go in afterwards and clear part of it out, but it created a lake. And when it did, there's these 60, 120 foot tall trees that were all through there that died. And so it's like pitching and flipping for big bass, but there's the potential for like 30, 35 pound brown trout.
And what are you flipping?
I mean, what do you mean?
Like, are you like pitching a jig?
You could throw a jig.
Oh my god!
Yeah. They eat
Really?
the hell out. Yeah.
Wow. And can you still do that
So-
today?
Yeah.
Oh man.
So kind of to that, it's just like we said, they're not magic. I mean, they're
Right. Yeah.
they
It's
eat
a
the sa-
fish.
they-
Dude,
yeah.
I thought
There's plenty of largemouth in the hooch below the dam too.
Yeah.
I
We've
know.
we've caught
I-
good
yeah,
largemouth.
but I've always thought, and
I mean,
they'd get some
they-
power
they
bait
eat
and
the
some
same
damn
stuff.
corn and
No,
go
man.
catch 'em.
Just approach it like you bass fish.
I
You
want to
know.
hear about the swim baits.
We'll get to them. We'll get
Yeah,
to them.
we'll get to
I
it.
heard swim baits for
I
trout.
know you have.
Got my
That's
interest.
all you talked about
No,
for an
but
hour. Swim bait.
I'll
Swim
say
bait.
swim baits are
Shut up.
definitely better in. They're going to do you better for lake fishing for trout
Yeah.
than river fishing, mainly because they typically don't move the way they're designed to in current.
Yeah.
Glide baits, it's better,
Oh.
but there's still a but. You have to experiment a lot. Like I'm still figuring it out myself.
to that, do you know
I'll
anything
answer
about
that. I'll answer that in a second.
Matt Melton? Here comes your question. Do you know anything about Burton?
Oh, there's some big. They stock.
Oh,
that
Lake
thing all the
Burton?
time.
Yeah,
Okay, so what I'm understanding, I know they still stock the browns in there, but for some reason, it doesn't matter what form, where I've looked for information, or who I've talked to. The past couple of years, the catch rates and the size of the fish have diminished immensely.
I wonder if it's because the stripers gotten so big and just eating.
They don't have striper in Burton.
They don't?
Nope.
I thought they did. I know
Nope.
they got some big large mouth in there.
It's a weird lake. It's really deep.
See,
and,
I rode up there one time.
they're cool fisheries. Man.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
You need
it's
to go-
a
you need to go
beautiful
up there.
fishery,
It's
man.
deep.
You need to
That
go up
is-
there.
Wait, and the thing is, you can run that whole lake in a day.
Easy.
I mean, I was 60 mile an hour just trying to find fish. Got one fish unless a bill.
There's all the docks up there are so because
Deep.
that's turned into a you got to be a millionaire to have a
Yeah,
dock up
yeah.
there. In a past life, I actually worked on several houses up there doing some wood finishing and whatnot. And so some of those docks, I got to go down and fish them. And then we're talking 20 years ago. But these docks, I mean, you could just see the pilings and the fish just sitting down there. So
And so that's how Blue Ridge can get sometimes.
Yeah.
When it hasn't rained,
Thanks,
man,
yeah.
you can see down.
Right.
Yeah.
So Danny said they got hybrids and walleyes in Burton.
Yep.
And it's 27, little over 27, almost 2,800 acres.
yep. And I don't know how, I can't remember how deep it is, Danny. If you find it, let us know, please. But I know it's a pretty dang deep reservoir.
It is.
Matt,
It's
Matt,
gorgeous, too.
I'll add
It
for
is.
you. I know the guys that I've heard divulge anything substantive about catching them in that lake fish for them a lot like they fish for stripers on Lanier.
Yeah, it's planer
they'll-
boards.
They'll do flat lines and planers in the winter.
Lead core
And,
lines.
Yeah, they'll do lead. You control plugs. That's a lot like they'd target them up north.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's timber in that lake, but I'm sure if you could hold depth, you could probably do downriggers if you were really,
if you needed to,
if you really wanted to that bad.
Yeah. I mean, it's like
they'll straight up downline for them in the summer. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Downline for what? The trout?
the trout. Yeah. Just go near the dam and downline for them.
Okay. All right. So
The real thing about that, though, is
Yeah.
the river that flows into it, the Tallulah.
right.
That's one of the few. That's actually the stream that starts at the highest point of any stream in Georgia. It starts at over 5,000 foot, just over the line in North Carolina
Mhm.
on Standing Indian Mountain. You can catch the native brookies like we were talking about up there. They do stock it with browns and rainbows as well, and they do have holdover fish in there. But it's a freestone stream, meaning there's no dam impoundment to keep the stream, to regulate the stream flow.
Gotcha.
Same thing with the Chattooga, which if you really want a true wild trout experience, that is the #1 river in the state to go to.
The Chattooga.
Yes, sir. Northeast corner of the state, in between North Carolina, Georgia, and South Carolina.
Then when you say the wild experience, we're talking for these brooks,
They
brook trout or whatever it was.
they don't stock in the section above Burrell's Ford, where I'm referring to,
Okay.
and
But when you say the most wild,
it's a wild and scenic river that so you literally when you pull in,
Uh-huh.
you're deep in the woods, and when you hike in, you'll see other people, but there's no development, and there's just miles of trails that you can hike on along the river, and it's
Chill music. That's what I was thinking.
well that's further downstream actually. That's a lower section,
What
but yeah,
about-
you ain't wrong.
do you know anything about? And I don't know. How
Jocassee or Jocassee that's over in South Carolina.
Joe Cassie.
I haven't fished there yet. The freaking lake is super deep and clear. Like I've been told that you can literally have 60-foot visibility there.
Jesus.
It's insane.
that's a little clearer, even for here.
Yeah,
Yeah, even for here.
I thought I
But
thought I was a Clearwater guy.
but
Yeah,
it's got
right, seriously, yeah.
exactly.
Get out.
It's super duper clear, and there's some really neat, real short streams that flow into it, and that's why it stays so clear because these river systems and streams that flow in are short, so they don't have a lot of time to pick up that silt.
Okay, all right.
I don't unfortunately know much about it, James. I would like to. But
Cody
again,
Jones.
You just call him LJ. You don't have to call him James.
Yeah, he's
All
Danny,
this-
you're
all
right.
that
Yes,
damn
the
formality.
Nantahala does actually have cam loops that have
What
been
is a-
stocked in
What
there.
is a cam loop?
So
Not
cam
trout?
loops. Okay, so yeah, so there's different kinds of. There's literally different species of trout. Okay, hang on.
All right, we're getting ready to go. Here we go. Here comes the rabbit.
Hey,
All right.
I'm
There's-
learning so much. I should have brought a pen and a piece of paper tonight.
Well, you can go back and if you're learning and you don't get it, you can go back and rewatch
Wait,
it.
I hope that you've got Van Halen's "Hot for Teacher" running in the back
I
of
do
your head.
anything
you know?
Van Halen.
There you go. Damn right, man. Eddie,
Hey.
thank you so much. Bless you.
All right, dude. Seriously,
Dude,
about time somebody gave some Van Halen love.
I
in here.
love Van Halen, man.
That best
That was-
guitarist ever. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
Hey, pay attention to Wolfie. His music is incredible.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, I
Have you
know.
heard the song that he put
Yes, I have.
up? That
yeah.
is some,
And yeah,
good
I mean,
stuff.
I actually wore my sunglasses the weekend, the episode after Eddie died. It
Oh,
just-
yeah.
yeah. Okay, well,
He's,
I'm just
yeah,
finally
I
glad.
love Eddie, man.
I am finally glad that somebody on this show has some class.
Yeah. Well,
Not only are you smart, but you got some musical class about
well, I
you.
appreciate that.
Man, you just keep on talking whatever you want to do. It's all yours.
Man, you're just listening.
Yeah, seriously.
But I totally lost my train of thought on where we were too. Dan.
It don't
talking
matter.
about,
You managed that. You
well,
fit
well, you were
something
talking
about
Coon
Eddie.
lop or coon
Coon
lap.
lop.
Cam
Cam
loops.
loops.
Cam
Cam
loops.
loops, yeah.
Okay, so
Here we go.
going back
Coon
to
lop.
Cam loops.
You're learning too.
So in the Chattahoochee, if you looked at the genetics that are in the river from the fish, okay, there's more genetic diversity just in that river than there is in the entire human race all over the planet. These fish are so diverse. They have found that there's literally different species that are not species, different strains of the species or phenotypes is what they refer
So like
to them
when
as.
a spot breeds a largemouth, called a meanmouth, or a smallmouth on a spot, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
you
but
more like
you
a
don't-
Florida strain
like a
versus a
crossbreed.
northern.
That's
There
more
you go.
like it's more like a Florida versus a northern strain type of largemouth. But with trout, there's tons of diversity. Browns, they have a ton of different ones. The Kamloops that he's referring to, they're from a specific area of Canada, and those fish typically run out into the ocean and live out there for a long time and then come back in, and they're called steelhead. And
I got you.
look up, if you want to see some intense fishing, look up steelhead. Those things will rip off 200 yards of line like nobody's business.
Okay, yeah. Yes, Mason, he had me at Van Halen. Mason knows me well. He's going back.
Yes, Danny, you're damn right. Lake Appalachia has big trout also. North Carolina is actually working on turning that into a trophy trout fishery. Paul here has actually fished it, and I think he had a run-in or two with some good browns up there, didn't
I
he?
encountered one.
You encountered one. Well, let's hear about it.
If you get an
Oh.
encounter, that's a sign
Yeah.
you're doing the right thing. So that's
Lake
progress.
Appalachia, that's a river basically, isn't it?
That's a re-reg below Hiawassee
It's
Dam.
exactly.
Yes,
It's
we actually went smallmouth fishing up there. Like,
I caught
2
a
months
caught
ago.
a smallmouth out
Yep.
there
Yeah.
too.
but we caught all spots. Is that
Don't
going to hurt
invade
the
my
lake?
So my
What, is that
my
you
buddy
just got where spot
Eric,
attracted?
you were the one that invited me up there. Don't act like I wasn't allowed.
Don't invade my lake. Stay off my lawn.
No, we went up there too because we've been to Lake Hiawassee. We caught a lot of smallmouth.
Yeah.
Did some research. Apparently, Lake Appalachia is better for smallmouth.
Yeah.
We went
Yeah.
Because it's
all
it's
spots.
and they're in there. I think it's time of year. I literally have not
Appalachia,
fished
all
it.
spots.
Yes,
Really?
throw in a jerk bait. Me and Jacob right over there.
That's crazy.
So answer Mason's question.
See, got a
Appalachia-
20 inch
if you
at the
wanna-
Hiawassee Dam out of it.
What are
Yep.
you talking about?
See, that's actually where Dalton's
No, I
talking
didn't
about.
get the
That's one of
number
the
correct.
places I want to go fish at because
Yeah.
No,
I know
Yeah,
there's
the-
I
the
know
fish-
there's
He
big
wanted,
browns.
Mason wanted to know if I got the phone number
The
correct.
fish I met there
No,
was
didn't know.
probably 16, 18 inches. I mean, it was
That's still a good
it was
fish, man. Like
Gorgeous
that's
lake.
yeah. It's
no, it's super cool up there.
Yeah.
Okay, well let's do
But
this.
The thing about, and maybe more so than bass, trout are followers, and
Yes.
they will
they won't ambush the same way a bass does.
Yeah.
I think is that
and
what you mean?
yeah, well, they get interested in something. A lot of times I think they just get curious.
They're really curious fish. They are.
Um,
They really are curious.
and
fish.
they'll just come, and even if they know something isn't real,
They'll
they
come and investigate it.
They'll follow.
Yeah.
I remember.
And this fish from Appalachia, I was anchored up in the current below the dam, just throwing a jerk bait. I was hoping for smallmouths.
Yeah.
And
Which that'll work for any
this fish,
species.
he came up and he came following, and I didn't see him until it was too late to do anything. I had about 8 inches of line out, but he would have followed that bait to the moon. He swam himself right out of the water following it.
Figure eight.
And that's when he came to his senses and he looked and said, well, I'm out of here, buddy.
Yeah. I had
But and they'll do that, and I'm a big proponent of this, and you guys are too, I'm going to guess. Anytime you have a chance to really watch a fish behave,
yes.
or watch a group of fish behave, that is an opportunity to learn something significant.
Yep. 1,000%.
Like any of you guys, Lanier guys, know somewhere that there's still a green light, pull up on that light and don't fish it, and just watch them do stuff.
Yeah.
The way they interact.
Shut up.
Oh, that program's already blown out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like nobody knows about
Oh, the
green
course,
lights.
yeah.
of course, taking them away. anyway.
Yeah, they're taking them away.
Wait, what?
But
You
they're,
didn't hear about that, dude? They was like
They're making all those dock lights go away?
because of an electrical problem.
Someone's
afraid of people
someone's
getting
kid
shot.
got zapped or whatever.
Yeah, that was
Um,
released like 2 summers ago. I think.
That's fairly recent. There's
like,
still a
like
few out
last
there.
summer, 2
That-
summers. I only found 3 that were turned on this year.
Yeah.
That is absolute horse crap.
Exactly.
Oh my
So
gosh.
diplomatic.
No, but I'm saying, like,
Yeah,
there's
Well,
no
I don't know
sense
what
in taking them
I this is my first time. I mean,
off.
I'm-
Hey, it's
you know.
okay. Just don't drop the big ones.
okay.
But I mean, I would say
It's his
there's.
show. Just let him tell you. You know, I mean, you know.
I would say the same thing. There's several holes that I fish on the hooch where you can see fish.
Yeah. Oh,
And it is really instructive to take the opportunity to watch them before,
Right.
even before you fish for them, just where they hold in a run, like which ones are active, which ones are, laying on the bottom, just sitting there.
absolutely.
And kind of that can influence your decision-making process.
Right.
And again, 100% same way, anywhere that has current, that has fish in current, you can apply this. They
Mhm.
don't have to be trout.
No, and
Yeah,
that's the thing. It's
like
just
shoalies and stuff like that.
it would.
Shoaley's spots, that big spot I got on Raven.
And the thing with the stuff
Okay,
like that
okay.
is too is yes, it can apply to these different species, but you're going to find there's different little nuances or different little specifics to each one that's going to actually
For sure.
be specific for it. So that's where you get into the real technical details of the fisheries, and that's like with as I'm sure you're discovering with the hooch, it's technical. It is not an easy fishery.
No, you have to do a lot right.
Yeah,
you have to have some success is pretty easy.
Mm-hmm. But to be continuous with it, it's
to go out and do it every day, every trip is very hard, and especially as you start to target those bigger caliber fish.
Yeah,
it's just
and
it gets to be just monstrous, and then like you see one every now and then, you get a glimmer.
The white whale.
Yeah, no, it's totally
pretty much.
Totally.
It is.
It's like the 10-pounder. Yeah. It's like if you like to throw a swim bait. You had a big fish follow swim bait yet?
Several times.
Yeah.
Many times. And I'm sitting there like,
eat it. I have definitely had that.
That's what keeps you coming back.
I had a guy that he came and fished on my old boat.
Harmon?
Oh, nice. That he used to be a bass tournament fisherman, but he switched over to fishing flies. And so like he came out, he hadn't fished on my boat. And so he was like, oh dude, I brought you a present. He freaking give me an S waiver. I think a 160. And
hold on. What is that for us bass guys?
It's a wave. No, it's a glide bait. It's technically a glide bait. It's a
168 waiver. You don't know what an S waiver is?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a
dude,
mega
man.
bass. It's like a $60 glide bait.
Oh. Okay.
So,
he still don't know.
Listen, no. Listen, I'm doing this drinking water. This episode drinking water, so I'm kind of behind and lagging and all that. My knowledge. I'm trying to be healthy, man. So
New Year's ain't till Friday.
Yeah, it's not, but we're starting early.
There you go.
Okay, so anyway, I got what you said. Okay,
Dalton, I said I'd like to go with you. I think we're friends on Facebook and Instagram. I'd love to get with you and actually go.
There you go. I like the way you
serious.
think there, Dalton. I've heard that swim baits and glide baits are pretty good up
Yeah,
there.
if I'm not
I think
mistaken,
I've actually seen some of Dalton's videos.
hold on a
up
second.
I think
Listen,
the best
I'm the
time
host of the show. You don't get to go to I go.
Hey,
If you take,
We'll load my boat up. We'll ride up there, meet him, and we'll go.
Okay,
And you can sit in the back.
you start going to people before I do. We got problems. You're off the show, man.
You
you
can
don't
kick
get
me
to
off
be-
anytime you want to.
I know it. I keep you around because you're entertaining, but I mean, you're not getting the benefits.
You see Cody, he's jealous. He's mad.
Cody is
Mad
because he's his buddy, and we don't want, we like Cody.
We love Cody.
We love Cody, but Cody's mad that
He
we
ain't got
found
the
Blake.
curls for the girls.
No, dude.
Blake,
His hair?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh, listen, Cody's the
he's
one.
a-
He walked through the door, and I'm like, I hope you ain't here to rob the place.
Hey,
He's a big old boy.
he's just thinning.
He's what?
He's just thinning. He takes that hat off, man. He looks like he's 80 years old on top of his head. I'm serious.
Listen, but he's big enough to whip you too.
He about knocked me out of the boat one night.
I know. That's
I
what
mean,
I'm saying. You better be
Cold
nice.
cocked me, son.
I
I seeing stars.
So anyway, Dalton, I get to go first. So what's this need to give? I guess whatever. I'm mad at both of you. But anyway, okay, let's do this. When we fish, we've got specific rods, setups for specific type fish, blah blah blah. You're going after trophy trout in the hooch. I know you. I know you more. I just met you, of course, tonight. I see you post a lot, so I'm gonna give you the first shot. What are you fishing? What's your setup?
He's probably the better one to ask.
I want to know what yours is.
For me, I use what I would use for bass a lot of times.
That's what I was thinking.
And it really, kind of to Blake's point from earlier, just for general trout fishing.
Yeah.
Every bass fisherman has the rod they need. It's about a 6.6 or a 6.9 medium light with 6-pound test on it, and you can throw wraps or throw your Panther Martin or your Rooster Tail or whatever,
and you'll be fine.
And you can go have a good time.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely
You can go have a lot of fun. And from there, it's just, you want bigger fish, you tackle up.
Yeah. You have to. I mean, it's
what do y'all's goes to? I mean, I know for me, I throw a 7-foot medium heavy with like 10-pound Andy on it.
My outlook is like I said, like they don't stock these fish, so I want to try to take care of the population as best as I can. So
Now, these fish are more durable than your stockers, right?
Oh hell yeah, they're more durable.
'Cause
I mean, you can still.
I'm just asking because you catch a stalker, like you go to put it back 9 times out of 10, it's gonna die.
Yeah,
Because it's like,
well,
whatever.
yeah.
But I mean, you catch this. Shut up, Danny. You can fight this thing, get it to the bank. Hold it in your hand, get water going over its gills, and it's gonna swim off.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, one big difference between trout and bass. These are two huge things. You can't keep a trout out of water like you can with a bass.
Yeah, you can't.
It
Hold
just
pictures and all that.
you can't. It just doesn't work that same way. Plus, you got to think about this too. Say you're fishing in the middle of summer when it's 95 degrees out, and you catch a fish like this, and all of a sudden that fish goes from its cool, 47 to 55 degree water to 90 degree water. That's going to stress the crap out of that fish.
I just want to know why I'm Mr. Hanky.
I know I'm Billy Gibbons, which I'm
And
totally
I
fine
know
with.
He's Blake Tippin, and you're Paul Simon. Well, why am I Mr. Hanky, dude?
The name's gonna change when my hair gets cut.
Maybe you'll be Mr. Hanky then.
I mean, I'm gonna look bad, boys.
Listen, Harmon, dude, I thought we were friends.
Well, if
but
you go to taco night just once, maybe he'd ease off you a little bit.
well, I don't want to steal his spotlight, right? I mean that's
There's
his
room
thing.
at the table for everybody.
There's room at the table for everything. But listen, there can only be two kings. I mean, one king at the table. So,
He's referring to both of us.
yeah. All right. So you're he fishes with it with bass stuff. All right. How
Yeah.
about you?
Well, that's pretty much what I was getting at is these fish, they're tougher, but in general, because we have so much down timber in the river and they're not stock fish, I want to protect the population. I want to horse them in as quick as I can so that I can
Get them back in the water.
Yep. And every one of these fish, I carry a gigantic net with me always. It doesn't matter if I'm going to hike in to a river or if I'm going for these. I just always carry a big net because you don't know what's going to happen.
right.
And that is going to give that fish ample space to recover a little bit. Because it doesn't matter what kind of fish it is. What's going to kill them is if you get lactic. It's just like if you work out, you get sore, that lactic acid buildup. That's what happens to fish when they fight.
Right.
And that's what can kill fish too,
Okay.
if they're stressed. So, we try to keep them, in the water, try to get them in as quick as possible. But it's usually braid with leader. My stuff like that, it's braid with leader type of stuff. The fly stuff that I have, it's heavy duty as well. It's overlined it's an overlined 8-weight setup. And it's got a very specific sinking type of line, but the leaders I use are 25 pound leaders.
Okay.
Because it's like I said, I just want to be able to get those fish in and make sure they're okay.
Get it over with.
Do you fly fish any at all?
I do.
You do?
I haven't gone as far as he's gone yet. I'm a standard 5-weight fly rod kind of guy.
I couldn't throw a fly rod if y'all told me how. I'd never done it.
It's easier than people make it out to be.
It's easier to. At first, it's really counterintuitive.
People's like it's a science. It's a science.
It's an art.
art.
Oh,
science.
I would give
what's funny is like I actually saw a river runs through it on TV the other day.
Oh,
and I came in right as Brad Pitt was doing the shadow casting, and I just looked at it. I was like, "That's not how any of that works."
Yeah, like that's for effect, and that's how
It looks
doesn't
great
work.
though.
It does.
Okay.
So
It's
let me
really
ask
hard
you
to do.
this.
I would
Kinda
say
crap, though.
to you, if you want to get into fly fishing, I think a lot of people they think of fly fishing as like the way to catch trout and like a method that can only be used to catch trout.
Yeah.
Probably the best
Those are
thing.
called purists, by the way.
Yeah, right.
And
Fancy pantsers.
Those are the ones that do that tanker or whatever that stuff that with just the line and all.
No, that's
weight.
cane- that's
cane pole.
Tinkara is what you're
Okay,
talking.
we'll
That's
get
cane
into
pole
that.
Cane
fishing.
pole.
Yeah,
cane pole fishing.
But-
Okay, yeah.
It
I
doesn't-
did not want to say that, but that's what the hell it
It
looked
is.
like.
It's
I'm
what
like,
it
that's-
is.
I did that crap for brim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it works for any fish you want.
That was exactly what I was going to say. The best way to get into fly fishing is to find a farm pond or somewhere that's got some brim and got some small bass, so that you can go
Mhm.
out and you can kind of get your legs under you,
Right.
and you can have some success. Because if you go out on the river and you're trying to manage line and current and
It's just it can
And
lead
trying
to
to
frustration for
catch
sure.
fish and do everything all at once, it's just you're going to get frustrated. You're going to be like, why am I doing this? Why did I spend all this money? And you're going to quit.
Yep.
it's just so much easier to start in that still water with kind of a willing fish to catch.
Yeah, that are very easy and willing to feed all the time.
Yeah.
So,
But I mean, you can still blow it with a bass. I mean, you
absolutely.
can still blow it with a bluegill. I mean,
Right. Yeah.
exactly.
But they're not so demanding.
No, and
You don't have to be perfect.
and
I like
if,
that. That's
if you
good.
do transition it over to where you're trout fishing or fly fishing for trout, I should say, in the river, you'd really want to start out at low flows, because that's going to allow you to kind of see a lot of the stuff we've talked about with where fish are, how they move and whatnot, because they're going to hold in different waters at different flow rates and whatnot.
Right.
But that's also kind of the safest time to really fly fish on the Chattahoochee. So, ouch.
I bet you still got it too.
I'm gonna put that on the wall.
We're gonna have to block him. I mean, seriously.
So I guess you just did the other one by choice.
Yeah, right. We're just going to have to block him. I mean, like we were several episodes in before he found this place. So we're glad you figured out YouTube, Harmon. But I'm gonna have to block you, man. I'm just kidding.
But
I got a question about these trout. When they get this big, are they like the main predator in the river?
Yeah, they're the apex predator. Now,
No,
I mean, it's not always the case. No, check.
Shut up.
So check this
I mean,
out.
are you still getting stripers down that far? That
There's
I mean, what, a striper eat this thing as big as it is?
if it was a big enough striper, sure. You could. I could see.
try
I could see a 40-pound striper vaporize in a 2-foot brown for sure.
Really? Just,
Yeah, I'm sure Alex could probably back that. I'm sure he's seen some crazy stuff down where he's fished at.
I mean,
But there's a buddy of mine that I fish with. He was in Montana fishing on the Blackfoot River, and he was up there fly fishing, and they have these things called bull trout up there, and there's no bass species that's the equivalent. They're just like the most aggressive, pissed off big trout you can imagine, and they look kind of like brook trout. But this dude hooked into like a 18-inch cutthroat trout, which that's a sizable trout. I mean, that's about that much shorter than this guy. And they said they watched this bull trout come up and inhale that thing in one bite.
how big is them things get?
This one was 32 inches and 15 pounds. Jesus. So, and that's in a river.
You're,
Wow.
you're me
above
about 4 or 5
No.
years ago, just like, man,
Danny knows
why
there's
have I
not-
been
There
fishing?
should
for
not be
greenfish
any
so
striper
much?
above
Right.
Morgan Falls. If there is, then the brown trout fishery has problems.
Billy Gibbons. So that's what everybody's calling you now.
Okay.
All right. So do you wade up river or down? But it sounds to me like you're in a boat.
I'm in a jet boat the majority of the time if I'm on the hooch. I love jets because jets are amazing.
Yeah. Okay. I gotcha.
But if I do go hiking in, generally I'll wear waders if it's cold. I'll wet wade if it's not. Have I caught big trout wet wading? Yeah, actually I've caught a 26-inch brown out of the hooch while I was wet wading. And
Are you an upriver guy or a downriver guy?
what do you mean?
It's like technically, do you work your way up or do you
Yes.
start up and come down?
Yes.
So
Just, I generally
well, you're coming upriver. I think you've got the advantage. You're sneaking
Coming-
up on them.
coming up river you typically do, but when you have a big body of water like the hooch, it doesn't really matter,
That's fair.
because
Because they're, I will say, I
you
think
can break it down into small streams, though, like you
Yeah.
said, which is the best approach.
I think thinking small when you start on moving water. I think moving water in general, you have to think small. Like if you look at a river, I don't care if it's the Hooch, the Toccoa, the Chattooga, the Okmulgee, the Flint, whatever, and you try to take in that river in its totality, and you're just gonna
Oh yeah,
you're gonna fish the whole thing.
it'll overwhelm you.
Yeah,
instantly.
it's like we were talking about on Lanier. You're gonna try to fish all 38,000 acres of Lake Lanier.
Right.
You
Absolutely.
drive yourself insane.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's all about, you take a chunk, you take, a 10 or a 15 or a 20 foot wide chunk, and you go to work and you pick.
Yep.
And you pick from close to far, and you just, those little lines, and it's incredible the nothing places that fish will show up.
Oh yeah, places
and
you'll be totally surprised they were there.
if you were to see this fish like in the water, in the river, their camouflage is astonishing.
Yes.
Like-
Yes.
They absolutely just disappear.
Yep.
As soon as they get any kind of water over the top of them, they're gone. And the amount of cover in a lot of our rivers, especially the tailwaters.
Yeah.
And it's the little pockets. Like there's a bass spot that I have, and it looks like nothing. and there's like 2 or 3 logs, and they look like they just sit right on sand, but there's scours under there.
Yep.
And I couldn't get any good GoPro of it. The water was already bad, but you could look under that log where it looks like there's no room at all for anything. There's 8 fish under there.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Okay.
Yeah, there's
Now, scours, when you say scours, you're talking about like a washed out.
yeah, it's washed
Okay.
out underneath the log or the
Okay.
structure. Because I've actually had that same thing. We were up well past Highway 20 fishing, and there's a log mid-river, and I cast out over it, and I was like, I know there's a fish there. And sure enough, as I got my freaking lure right on the other side of it, I saw him come out, and I was like, oh yes, that's a good brown. And I hooked it, and it was a freaking like 3-pound largemouth. I was like, what? All right, well,
there
that's
are more
cool.
bass in that river than people
There's a
think about.
lot more bass in there than people realize. There really is, and there's some good ones too. I mean,
Yeah.
Alex,
You said that was north of 20?
Alex,
That's high.
that's way up high.
Yeah, that's what
I've
I was
caught
thinking.
the biggest bass I've caught out of the river came from up there as well, and it was
Really?
a 5-pound largemouth.
I've seen some that size.
Yeah. So, and I know the biggest
They're-
Alex.
They're slurping down DNR's trout,
That's it.
just like me.
Alex Alex
right.
caught a 7.6 last year out of the river.
That was
So
a pretty fish.
that was a real pretty fish. So there's quality bass. in
You
there.
know, a 7-pound largemouth a lot of the time is a fat fish.
Right.
A 7-pound river fish is just
Muscle.
Yep.
there's no real gut, just streamlined, just perfect fish.
Probably super long. No belly.
No, that fish was stout.
It was pretty.
It
It was
was- it
pretty
was-
thick
Yeah.
because where it was not far from a creek mouth, and typically in the winter because you have the temp, it equalizes the temperature, so the fish will migrate into the. You'll see more bass in the
Yeah.
river.
So
in the
if
winter.
somebody
They
was
spread out.
If somebody was wanting to go target trout, would you be doing it like trout like this? I ain't talking no stockers. Heck with that. That's out of the book now. I'm talking these kind of fish. Would you go during the wintertime or spring?
You can
summer,
go all
or-
year.
All
Yes.
year.
Yeah, my suggestion, yes is the
Yes.
right answer because
Just go.
you
Start-
just need to
it's-
go.
Yeah,
and,
you got to start putting time in.
Okay.
and you have to realize what's going to happen, and this is what I've noticed, is there is an actual progression to it. The more you continuously do it, you'll see the size progression showing up with the fish. So, like before I caught this fish, Alex and I were fishing, and I caught like a 18, a couple of 19s, and then a 20. So there was like a logical progression in my fishing logs, and that was granted that was over like a couple months of trips, but I tracked.
Are you a record keeper?
More so by photo,
Okay.
Than anything.
That's always interested me. Danny, you record keeper? You
No.
logbook guy?
No, but I
Uh,
probably should be.
The big
I
largemouth. I don't write a date down and keep my pictures.
I don't know. Do you do that with bass like you do trout?
So
You can.
I mean, do you?
No.
Oh, I was just curious because I mean, as a bass, I mean,
It's one of those. I'm probably in the same boat you are. Like I should be very meticulous. I think
I'm not
photos
super meticulous.
I do it.
photos have helped a lot.
I
Yeah.
do it with turkeys.
Uh,
I will do that with turkeys. I'll write the spurs and the beard length.
Yeah,
If I had
Yeah.
a nicer way to weigh them, I'd weigh my birds. But turkeys for sure. That's
Yeah.
about the only thing
Yeah.
I keep records of.
okay.
but you keep your conditions and all that, or do you just hope to
Like
remember?
you
No.
saw the turkey in this, it was
No.
on a full moon, that kind of stuff.
No, I'm gonna go out in the woods. I'm gonna make him gobble, and I'm gonna bring him right into my lap, and
Okay.
blow his head off. Yep.
Well,
Don't
that's
matter if it's. I don't go when it's raining. It's pretty.
Yeah, I got you.
I don't turkey hunt if it's raining.
So that's
They don't really
definitely, I
take a
think,
move.
No.
trashy weather I think helps.
That's-
Trashy
that's-
weather helps with any fish.
trashy weather is amazing for browns
So
because
if it's snowing,
I haven't
What
fished in the
about-
snow.
What about the,
I want to.
like the muddy conditions? I've always heard trout don't bite when it's muddy. Is that true? Like the water's dirty.
Do bass bite when it's muddy?
Okay, well, that answers my question. Then. I've
mean-
always heard like
They
well,
gotta
I'm
eat.
I'm
Dude,
gonna go trout fishing. Well,
Does a one-legged duck swim in a circle? Do rattlesnakes kiss carefully?
I
I mean,
know.
come on.
I didn't know. I just hey, that's why we're.
I'm
doing
actually
this.
thinking.
I'm learning. I'm learning
He might.
because I've always been told, they're
I think, and this is an experience I had on a piece of what I would consider confidence water. It's not big fish water, but I was out one day and it started to rain on me, and I was just going to ride it out. I was going to tough it out. It's not that cold, and the water got a lot of color in it. And those same runs that I'd been fishing that had not been producing,
All of a sudden came alive.
boom! It was like flicking a switch. That water went brown, and they were about it. And
Turbidity is good to a point. with trout.
Yes.
You're absolutely right. But there's a point where they're like, screw this. I'm not hungry.
Yeah,
They're I think primarily a sight predator.
Yeah.
They
do have a lateral line though.
Yeah. I mean, they've got all the senses that any fish has. But,
I've always been told if it's muddy, don't even try to go because you ain't gonna catch it.
if it's muddy, like blown out muddy,
No,
I'm
talking like silty. Like you.
Yeah,
look,
no,
there's a tint.
we'd be talking the difference between
Stained
and muddy.
versus like Yoo-hoo is a huge difference.
Yeah, I'm talking like
Stain.
even if it barely rains, I've been told, well, don't go because the creek's gonna get too dirty.
That's because those dudes were out there busy catching those big fish that you were missing out on.
Yeah, we're making you stay at home.
That's exactly what it was.
I mean, this is like my dad.
Now-
So
Well, yeah,
we're
your dad
talking
was
throwing.
catching the fish, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to
forward
say,
and
I know I wanted to address this question. I saw James. Sorry about that. I'm actually running it's a custom low roughneck 1448 with a upgraded transom and a full. It's got a front console on it that's installed, and everything's been upgraded with aluminum. So it's running a 4530 jet, and I'm constantly tinkering with that thing, trying to get more horsepower out of it. So, but it's such a light boat as it is. It drafts when I'm not running in usually 4 inches of water, and when I'm on plane, I can run 4 inches or less.
Really? There you go.
That is
whole
some
nother
fun stuff right
it'll
there.
pucker
son.
you up.
Yep.
That's what I'm sitting there thinking.
You got to be
Yeah.
you got to be on your stuff. You got to be paying attention, and things happen just
How
so
far is
fast.
your prop sitting under the boat if you're running like that?
You don't have
It's a
prop.
jet.
It's a
Oh,
jet.
yeah, what am I thinking? My bad.
Well,
guys.
the impeller is like -3
Wow.
inches.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, okay.
Danny and Robert, I saw you guys mention some, 25 years ago you fished in the hooch and you had luck on Rapalas with 2 to 5 pound trout. And I think you had said something similar, Danny. Those days are unfortunately the best days of the Chattahoochee we may not see again. But yeah, there was because of how complete the food chain was, there was a huge amount of fish around then. But we didn't have a lot of fishermen that could really focus on catching them.
Right. Okay.
So
I tell you what's pretty cool is, I said we need to do a trout episode.
I think we need to do it more often.
Well, we do. But here's, I had stereotyped in my mind. We're gonna sit here and I'm not knocking the guys up that like to fly fish and all that and the beauty of it, all that. But I had that in my mind. Okay, well, we're gonna talk fly fishing all night, and
no,
this is
No.
this is a total different perspective than what I was expecting.
listen,
And it's good. I like it.
and see that's the thing. Like I like breaking down that barrier but I do fly fish, but I also throw gear. And why do I do that? Because I want to figure out there's an evolution that's happening with the fishing. You have to have that happen because that's the only way you're going to be able to keep up with catching these fish ahead of other people, or develop new strategies or new understanding of what the fish does and how they interact in their environment.
Do you ever get any blowback from?
Oh hell yeah!
From throwing gear.
I've been accused of myself and a couple other folks have been accused of mainlining rainbows to catch these big fish in the river before. And honestly, I don't care if people want to talk crap like that, because what I do speaks for itself. Like, I'm here to show how awesome of a fishery the Chattahoochee River is and how much good cold water fishing there is in the state that gets overlooked. These fish, oh my God, people are missing out.
No,
but
there
at the
is.
same time, the amount of time and work and effort that it takes to get one of these fish is immense. And
you got a question right there from Body.
Alex,
Yeah.
what's up, my man?
What is the range of turbidity you would fish?
Well,
And what when you stay home, it's doing what? Like,
it's
I ain't going out.
if it on the ranges. So there's a range on the gauge that you can look at that the USGS puts out.
I can tell you that. Just give me a call. We got a gauge at work. I work
Well,
at the water treatment plant in Dawsonville. I'll tell you.
Oh, there you go. That's one of them.
You got them
That's a
for
good
all
one.
over the state.
Not over state, but we got them on the Etowah.
Yeah, they got them on the Etowah.
And
There's
if
actually
the Etowah's nasty. Hooch is probably a little nasty.
not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Because they flow on different. Like that flows way west.
Yeah. And so it's going to be different. Like up where I'm at, my turbidity could be reading like a 40. Jacob works at the city of Canton. His could be a 200.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So check this out. So on the hooch, same thing, but the way that the silt falls out changes the turbidity at different points of the river. So a fishable turbidity for Alex for what you do, I would say if you're looking at 10 or under, you're putting yourself in the right ball game to be looking for those big fish. For me, I've fished in it all the way up to 50 and higher and still caught fish. I know Alex has fished and probably higher than that and had caught some big fish.
We're
too.
talking about the turbidity. I know 50's not super nasty.
It's on the river. It is. It's pretty damn dark. That's
You
yoo-hoo.
You
You're
guys,
getting the yoo-hoo at that point.
you guys use any bait casters at all?
I throw bait casters. I throw spin cast and fly, and I use Shimano and Lose for my bait or Lose bait casters. But I'm about to switch over to Shimano just because the gearing is aluminum, which the way they do it, it's a really good product. But the Shimano stuff it's brass. It's going to last longer, and I mean, Shimano is just amazing equipment. Same thing for the spinning gear. My fly fishing reel is a Nautilus, which is not cheap, and I got it on a great deal. So, but yeah, that's the gear stuff right there.
And then you're a Cortland guy.
I don't say
I'm on the Cortland Pro team, so I use all Cortland
You're awesome
leaders.
with that, man.
Get that in there.
And
Yeah, you're amazing. Keeping
Well,
up with
I mean-
what we need to be saying and all that. He
Oh.
does it same with me too.
oh yeah,
Like, I
for sure.
forget, yeah.
Just drop it in there, man.
Yeah, you
Drop
got
it
to.
in
I
there.
mean,
Stealth rod holders. Love you guys.
I couldn't be more happy. This guy, Captain Charles Schultz on Instagram was the gentleman who reached out to me about becoming part of their program. And I mean, I couldn't be more blessed and more happy about it because it's been able to do things like bring awareness to the river. Like I love seeing these big fish caught. I feel like if people in North Georgia understood how awesome that river is, and if it was turned into the shining star of the state for cold water fisheries the way it used to be, that we'd have a lot more potential of people catching fish like these.
So,
But you only see people catching these, like there's maybe 2 handfuls a year, if that.
if you wanted to do some kind of program with the DNR to get the hooch where it needed to be, what would it be?
That's a whole nother podcast. I'm not kidding.
Quick run, or just do a quick rundown. If you wanted to get with the DNR to get the hooch back where you could start catching a ton of these fish, what would it be? Sum it up super quick. We can get you back in here for another podcast.
It would need to be, we got to work on the food chain. That's the
There you
biggest
go.
problem is we've got to work on get the food chain right and get dredging back on the river. I really think that's honestly one of the biggest key components we're missing.
Getting the silt out.
Yep, because there was actually holes in the river where they were up to 100 foot deep because that's how much silt they were able to pull out. That's how
Now,
much silt that
Why
river
did they
can
stop
store.
the dredging?
Fuel costs. It literally drove I know.
But that was back in like
But that was-
2007, 2008. It was
Exactly.
like $4 a gallon.
Well, I mean, it's 2020, about to be 2021. Y'all
Yeah,
they can
but
get back to it.
Well, you would think that, but that's not the way government works. You'll learn that.
Well,
You're
no,
right.
from my understanding, the last time I spoke with the NPS, they were still okay with dredging on the river, and they're the ones who controls the permits.
But they're not doing it.
Well, they don't have. It would have to be third party, private.
But
So-
that's what I'm saying. But there's nobody interested in doing it right now.
I don't know if anybody's attempted or even brought it to their attention, but I mean, if there is a
Yeah,
dredging,
listen, to that.
if
Matt
River,
Bell loving the new host.
River Sand Inc. If you guys are out there and watching this, we'd love to talk to you guys and see if we could work out some sort of dredging to get y'all back on and working with Trout Unlimited, because that is one of the big proponents. And that's another thing. Upper Chattahoochee chapter of Trout Unlimited. I'm a member of them. They're working very hard on a project on Crayfish Creek, which is a full-on stream restoration for a feeder creek on the Chattahoochee up by Highway 20. January 30th, there will be an active DNR workday up there. Please, everybody come that can, because we want you guys to see and understand what we're doing to try to help bring this river back. Because it, like I said, I stopped fishing I didn't tell you guys this part, but I stopped fishing for about a dozen years when we had some family stuff going on, and just picked it up again about 4 years ago. And seeing where the river is now versus what I knew it literally broke my heart, because I grew up on it. I saw 15-pound browns get caught in front of me. That's when I was a kid. That's cool stuff. I don't care who you are. And to see that those fish are so rare now, it's just frustrating. So there's a lot of work. I know the DNR wants to help. they've got some good people. It just comes down to the funding and the awareness of the people around here.
Okay.
Seems like that with about everything when it comes to fishing
Yeah.
industry.
It
hunting
does. That's
industry.
absolutely. You're
That's
absolutely correct.
I would tack onto that. I think I'd love to talk to people about the river. They'd see me pulling the kayak out somewhere. How'd you do? What'd you catch?
Yep.
What's even in here?
Yep.
And it's like when you tell them, hey, we have the southernmost naturally reproducing trout stream in the nation.
Yes.
I think we do.
Second,
Is it?
they have actually. You're talking about the Guadalupe River, it being the primary one that's out in Texas. I
Okay.
did actually go out there earlier this year. It was too early for the trout season, but
But-
they have recorded stream reproduction of the
Okay.
rainbows there.
Okay,
Some-
I mean,
so we're top two's fine.
yeah,
Yeah,
no,
we're-
top two's
yeah.
fine.
we are
But
we are-
we have a really unique fishery.
we are one of 3 trout streams in the entire world that have a population of over 1 million people with a trout stream flowing through it.
And that surprises me, honestly, because
There-
all the pollution going into the hooch, like running off the highways, interstates, all kinds of stuff.
It's more thermal pollution that you see with that stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So but you're right. It is pollution nonetheless. Heat, thermal pollution that can drive the temperatures up and that can kill the fish.
Yeah.
So you're right on that.
That's crazy.
I think we have opened up. We've been going about 2 hours now, so
Yeah.
I think we've opened up enough information that we probably could have 3 or 4 more episodes on this. So at some point in the near future,
Yeah.
I'd like to have y'all back.
Absolutely.
fishing holes, not rabbit holes.
Fishing holes, not rabbit
Well,
holes.
and on top of that too, we'll have to also talk a little bit about the White River out in Arkansas.
Yeah.
I will be going back out there late January, early February. It's incredible. There, you literally have an opportunity at a fish like this every cast or bigger.
Yeah. Like I said, that
Every cast.
guy that I work with, he goes like twice a year.
Yeah.
Always showing me pictures, man. Some of the fish he catches are gorgeous.
Yeah.
That's
Gorgeous
awesome.
fish.
Okay.
It's incredible. So
All right. Well,
yeah,
that's-
I appreciate the heck out of you guys having me, and
Oh yeah, no. Listen, I've been quiet. There's not too many episodes where I just sit and I'm quiet because I've been listening.
I
You know,
appreciate that. I mean,
It's been
gonna-
great. I've got a ton of information. Like,
Yeah.
I used to not care about trout. I'm honest. I just go.
Can we vote?
Well, and
Eugene
I
out,
totally
but-
understand
I
that.
would
Yes, Cody,
absolutely
we are.
love to catch one of these now.
oh, I'd love
Oh.
to take you guys out and show you
I
what
would-
it's about.
I would absolutely.
No,
love
listen,
it.
that's awesome. We need to do that. We figure it all out and just
Like my
maybe
interest is up.
maybe that can be one of your 10 things on the
Oh,
January
it is
Fish
for
Show.
sure.
Okay,
no,
well then
like
I'm game
heck
for
with them,
that.
heck with them stalkers. I
Heck with them stalkers. So that
We wanna-
might be-
we wanna go
well,
over one
that
of these
might be it.
guys,
We
yeah.
can have the goal of catching an 18 plus inch brown, and I would say 18 inches. I mean, I'm not-
Yeah, you're right. I think that's a successful and that's honestly when I first started doing this. Alex basically told me, he's like, on the hooch.
Billy Gibbons, keep rocking. Appreciate it,
I
LJ.
will. On the hooch, it's a good day if you catch 2 to 3 fish that are in that 14 to 18 inch range, and if you see a fish that's 20 inches, that's what we consider a pretty good day.
Okay.
Now, have we had days better than that? Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. All right. So I think we'll come back in next week and we'll put that on our list.
it's definitely
and,
going
and, and let everybody else vote on it and all that.
Sure.
But again, Paul, as always, man, thank you for coming up here. Like you as a person, love you as a guest. I mean, I always like hearing your insight.
Phil, how do we get in touch with you?
How do we get in touch with Phil?
Well,
phone number, Instagram, email.
I do
Facebook?
have
guide? Do you guide?
I do guide. I do
Well, okay,
do not
there you go.
guide on the Chattahoochee, and here's why: you have to have a permit on the Chattahoochee. I'm not paying $1,500 a year to hold that permit.
Oh, yeah.
There are limited permits as well. That's my water. I have no problem taking people out and fishing it and showing them what it's about because I love
Gotcha.
it so much.
Yep.
But that's my water.
I understand.
But I do guide up on pretty much any other river in North Georgia, the Soquee. I do guide up there again with Captain John Mccloskey, Dry Fly John on Instagram. Highly recommend following that guy. His fish will blow your freaking mind.
Do you have cards?
I don't yet. They're actually being printed and sent to me.
Make some kind of flyer, get some cards, get some up here to Danny. Because
Oh yeah,
people's gonna be asking now. I'm just saying.
that's fine.
Hey, listen, I love you, kid. Take it over. The more you say, the less I
No,
got to say.
I'm just saying.
Nobody wants to hear what the hell I got to say.
He's getting good at that.
I'm
man.
super-
Actually, I'm
interested.
sitting here.
It's
sitting
funny,
here thinking.
isn't it?
I'm like, it's funny how he is segueing into certain things and stuff. I'm like, the kid's picking it up,
Mhm.
making
I
my
mean,
job easier. Hell, you
If,
come
if
up here
I'm
and figure
this,
out how to run a store, I can go fishing.
if I'm this interested, I'm sure everybody else will be.
Call me when you do that, Danny.
Absolutely, yeah,
We
absolutely.
got you.
But
I've already got a job. I'm just here to be here. I'm joking.
anyway, so
But yeah, I absolutely. I mean, it's like I said, There's a lot, and my Instagram is Phil Hutch 1980. You can reach out to me on there.
Was that when you was born?
That is.
Okay.
I'm 40 as of this year.
I love how people get certain things in their, in their tags. And
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that.
I like to keep it simple. I mean, I still have my email from my first email, philhutch@yahoo.com, which is like
Lord.
25.
Hey, I'm
years
a
old.
Yahoo guy.
So that's another way you can reach out to me. But yeah, Instagram, email is the best way.
I know Dana at FCP did this. When the video goes up on YouTube, jump in the comments and put your contact info there.
Definitely. That's a great idea. Thanks for telling me that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's the easiest way to get in touch with me. And again, like I said, guys, do pay attention to Chattahoochee River Keeper, Trout Unlimited, Chattahoochee River Conservancy, the Chattahoochee River National Park Service that runs everything, as well as the Army Corps of Engineers. These are the most important stakeholders we need to pay attention to, as well. Obviously, the Georgia DNR. Those are the folks that are going to impact what's happening throughout the river chain and how it can be changed.
Somebody brought this up on Facebook, and you mentioned the Corps. Do any of us know anybody that's involved with the Corps of Engineers that we could get here at the table?
I don't know, but I'd love to bring them in.
We'll talk about that offline. But
it's like I don't imagine that we'd probably agree necessarily with some of the points of view there, but
we'll have to take that offline.
It would be interesting.
It's yes, and I'll put it to you this way: their purpose is solely based on flood control primarily.
Yeah.
So
that's kind of what I would have expected.
Any ancillary thing beyond that is it's
kind of out, not their monkeys, not their circus.
It's honestly kind of like that. Even goes to a lake like Latham.
Yeah.
Well,
the guys that run Latham will tell you that their business is water.
Yeah.
The fact that you get to fish in it is secondary.
It's their lake. You're just borrowing.
Same thing with the Corps, and since it's a Army Corps of Engineer, it literally, for anything to happen there, it requires an act of Congress. Literally.
Well, absolutely. I'm sure.
An actual act of Congress.
Actual act of Congress. All right, guys. Well, listen, Phil, I appreciate you,
Danny.
You coming in. We're gonna have you back.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this was.
Drag Alex up here.
We'll bring Alex up here.
I'll
we'll get whatever.
I'll see what I can do.
We'll see what we can do, guys. 2 hours and 6 minutes, and some of you guys are still here. So
I appreciate y'all for sticking around, folks. Thank you.
If you didn't get all of it, go back and watch it again. There was a lot of stuff. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it, but again, no program this coming up Thursday night. It's New Year's Eve. You guys go have fun, but stay safe. We will see you again on January 5th. That's Tuesday night, and that will be the show. The 10 things Fish North Georgia is going to try to accomplish on the water in 2021. So we hope you will throw your ideas. Alex can take Blake's seat. Nah, Blake,
Danny, if you can get in touch with Bill Couch, have him reach out for sure.
With who?
I can get in touch with him.
Bill Couch.
Big deal.
Really? Make that happen, man.
What about him? He's retired.
I mean, yeah, he was my Cub Scout master. Or whatever.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh,
he was the
another rabbit hole.
He was the king dingaling at the trout hatchery.
His daughter is the hydrologist for the National Park Service for the Chattahoochee.
No way.
Yep. Annie is awesome. She's one of the major
stakeholders. It's a small world, people.
And I learned something today.
Yep. I've learned a lot.
All right, so we will try to get Paul's Cub Master up here, and we'll see what we can do. So
everybody, like, subscribe, share.
And
share
comment.
Friends.
Yes, please share.
Like, share. Get this video out. I think a lot of people's going to be interested in this.
FX Rod, end of the year sales.
That's
still
right.
on sale till
the end of this week, right? End of this week.
January 1st. It is.
January 1st is when it ends.
Yeah. Anything else we need to plug? Elko Motor Yachts. What else?
Stealth Rod Holders.
True Grit Tackle. Anything else? Everybody?
I want to give a shout out to Vibe Kayaks over there in Kennesaw. Those guys have been doing a hell of a lot over the past year and a half.
Vibe Kayaks. What's that guy's name?
Josh Thomas, good friend of mine. He's I've been really impressed with seeing the way he's grown his business.
Danny wants to be a dealer.
No, listen. I want to be a dealer of everything.
Danny wants to be a dealer.
That's an open-ended statement, my friend.
Well, absolutely.
Say hello to my little friends.
All right, guys.
Cut it off right there.
Cut it off right there. We love you. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye, guys. See you guys.
Happy New Year.
I don't even know what the hell you said.
What?